browser, open the working document. The link is saved at the back end of your course. Next, open your ChatGPT account. Either it's a free or a paid account, no worries loves. Then, you can also open your Higgsfield account. All the links are available in our Zoom chat and on our working document. As we will be using different sites and apps for each AI in Action class, please always make sure to check our working document and chat before the class starts. That's all you need loves. So if you have opened all the links needed tonight, please drop 100 in the chat. If you need help, please drop 2 in the chat so we can assist you.
For our class, we have a few class reminders. First, please make sure that your setup is ready before the class starts. Please click Meeting Group Chat on the chat drop-down so everyone can see your messages. Please turn off your camera for faster internet connection. And most importantly, keep your mic muted unless the coach calls you to participate. Thank you very much for your cooperation.
Hi loves! Welcome to our Advanced Photoshop class. In this class, you'll learn how to create amazing template designs from scratch using advanced Photoshop techniques. You will discover professional tools, smart workflows, and design methods that will help you work faster and create better results. This is a great opportunity to learn from a Photoshop and a printing business expert. The discussions here will not only be about creative design techniques, but also professional tips on measurements, precision, and industry best practices. Since this is now an advanced PSD class, there's no more steps to do before our live class starts. However, after every live class, you have to follow this checklist. You'll see this at the back end of your course. First, wait for the zip file, download and unzip it, install the fonts, have your own assets ready, and start designing from scratch. Use the recap video as your guide, then post your final designs in our Facebook page. Now, get ready to learn new skills and have fun creating incredible designs using Photoshop. Please hang tight, our class is about to begin.
I paint the sky with a whisper loud. A brushstroke cuts through every cloud. My thoughts run wild, no change, no bounds. Electric colors in a concrete town. I'm the architect of my own spark, a firework igniting in the dark. Creativity is my superpower. Turning dust to gold in the final hour. I build a world with a single thought. No cage, just dreams. It's all I've got. I bend the rules like a melody bends. Snap a rhyme, make the broken man. A kaleidoscope spinning in my chest. This canvas bleeds, but it's my best. Ideas collide, a thunderous roar. They crack the ground and break the floor. Creativity is my superpower. Turning dust to gold in the final hour. I build a world with a single thought. No cage, just dreams. It's all I've got.
Hey loves!
What's up, my loves and fellow creatives? Welcome to our combination AI and Photoshop class tonight. We're going to get right into it because at right now it's 8 o'clock Eastern time. At 9 Eastern time, we're going to get into our Photoshop. I apologize for the technical issues. I believe I have internet right now. Y'all let me know. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Let me know if you can see my screen right now. Tonight's class for AI, we're going to be working on photo restoration, which is one of the focuses that you all wanted to do for this memorial project. And I think this is a wonderful type of offer to have with your graphic design, especially since we talked about marketing this for the funeral homes and the funeral directors, making that relationship, being able to get this done quickly, efficiently, and make them look like the heroes. And of course, you can use this for your clients as you are doing your memorial, wedding, birthdays, etc. All right, so let me see, where's my chat? There it is. I just want to make sure you all can hear me and see my screen. All right, awesome, awesome. Okay, so if you remember back almost, maybe not quite a year ago, but maybe about a year ago, we did AI class number 97, and it was about photo restoration. Now what I want to do is I want to take some revised prompts, and I also want to show you other than, because at the time, only the Nano Banana, there wasn't a Nano Banana Pro or Nano Banana 2 at the time, which is regular Nano Banana, was really capable of doing photo restoration. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try Nano Banana Pro, we're going to try ChatGPT, and we'll try, I believe, the C Dance. And when I say try, we're going to use these. I have to be careful about the word try, okay? We are using this as a trial to see which ones are going to give you the desired results. I also have a combination of different prompts. So what I'm going to do this a little bit differently tonight. I'm going to go ahead and share all of the prompts that we're going to have available to us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and put that into the working document. So as I'm working, you all can be working too. Working document is pulling up in just a second. Oh, customer happiness, I already dropped it in the chat. Hold on, let me get the Zoom windows out of my way so I can see. All right, here we go. Right, so what you'll see with the working document is I have 4 different objectives here. And I want us to get used to this because sometimes you're going to need to modernize a photo. Sometimes you're going to want to keep it looking vintage or keep some of the original details, but just enhance them, right? So I have 4 different objectives here. One is to preserve the vintage look. Objective 2 is to restore and colorize naturally. Objective 3 is to give it a modern high resolution enhancement. So even if it was a picture taken in 1940, we want to make it look like it was taken in 2026. We want to make it look like it was taken with an 8K resolution camera. And then objective 4 is to repair severe damage or missing details. Now, these are more specific to, let's say, for instance, there's a big scratch over an eye or some really very subdued images where you don't see a lot of contrast and you need some extreme detail built into the prompt, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and initiate these different prompts with the same image, see what we get there. And I'm testing out some images we actually did for AI-97 to see if the results are better now that we have more opportunities and more advancements with AI. All right, so you all have the same prompts that I'm working on right now, right in your working document. Believe, yep. You all should be seeing those if you scroll down in your working document. And also we have the live replay that is recording right now. So as soon as we're done with class, if you want to get into watching this replay and do a little more restoration tonight, maybe take some time, gather some photos that you want to restore. This would be an excellent opportunity to do that. I even did this last year, and I'm going to do it this year for the physical business that I'm helping start. One of those things you can do is you say, hey, everybody drop some photos of, your loved ones and maybe put a story to it. That way they feel involved, like, hey, who is this and why is this person important to you? Drop a photo that is really damaged and you want me to fix. Well, what you can do with that is you can really gather leads that way, because yes, you're going to be restoring some photos for free as you are building that interest, but then that post gets a lot of engagement, especially if you have local folks or folks that you know involved, and you may end up being that go-to person, not just for the individual who needs you to do that one photo, but like I said, now you have example images. Just make sure that they know that, you know, hey, I'm going to be using these. I'll do it for free, but the only thing I ask is that I can use it as an example on my website, right? That way you're getting real results, you're showing real people, and you're giving this an opportunity to show the funeral homes that you can do this type of service. This is a big deal. I want you all to be able to offer this as a service on your website, along with your graphic design services. All right, so that was my why before we get into the how. Now it's time to get down to the how. All right, so first I used this prompt here. I'm going to just tell it to reuse Nano Banana Pro there. Now, I want you all to see that when you choose the Nano Banana Pro, there is a difference between the 1K and the 2K quality. I'm going to go ahead and run the 2K quality. Oh, this one is the 2K. Let me move this out of the way. And just looking at the size here, this is 1792 by 2300. This one is, well, this is supposed to be higher quality, 1792 by 2400. It's supposed to give higher detail. It's not really doing that at this point, so we're going to play with this a little bit. Now, keep in mind, this very first prompt says to restore the photo while preserving its original vintage appearance, film grain, soft contrast, age, character. We're telling it to keep it looking old. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be showing you the different models with the different prompts and what they do. Okay, so the next one I'm going to use for objective one is our prompt number 2 here. I'll take the same exact photo and I'm telling it to repair the scratches. I'm putting on the 2K. Now, the reason why I'm using this 3x4 is just because this is a portrait style image. I probably could use 2x3 that might be a little closer to this ratio here. And the closer you are to the ratio, the more it's going to give you what you are looking for as far as your output. All right, so let me do Nano Banana Pro. I'm just going to do 3 models tonight. ChatGPT Image 2. Now that one takes the longest and takes the most credits. As you can see, when I do Nano Banana Pro, it's only costing me 2 credits, but when I do the GPT-2, it costs me 7 credits. So be aware of that when you are basically pricing, and also when you're thinking about the time that it takes to do this, because the GPT Image 2 does take significantly longer than the Nano Banana. So I just want to, show you all that. I'm also giving a trial to this C-Dream 5.0 Pro. It's 3 credits, which is still less than the GPT and 1 credit more than the Google Nano Banana Pro. What I'm looking for also is to make sure that the person is preserved. For instance, I don't want to change somebody's face entirely. I don't want it to look like somebody else. I want to make sure that if I'm doing this as a service, then my client feels like the person in the photo that they gave me is the person that I'm giving back to them with the enhanced quality. So I'm doing the same prompt again with the objective 1 and the prompt number 2 from the working document. Okay, and look how it's even like keeping the cracks in the photo and everything. All right, this one's keeping that appearance, that vintage look. Now, the next one is says to clean and restore the photograph. So I'm going with prompt number 3 now. I'm doing the Seedream 5, Nano Banana Pro, and I'll do the GPT image 2. And like I said, the prompts that we're working on right now is to the objective, whole objective of objective 1 is to preserve that vintage look. All right, now I'm going to jump on to objective number 2. So I just did prompt number 1, 2, and 3. You all can try prompt number 4 and 5 that I gave you. Try those out as well. I'm jumping to objective 2. And this one is to restore and colorize naturally. So I'm on to 2 right now. All right, same starter image. And this time I'm telling it to restore and colorize. I'm going to use GPT image 2. And I'll put this ratio on the 2x3. Let's do the Seedream Pro. I'll continue everything with the 2x3. And then a Nano Banana Pro. 2x3. Now check this out. I'm seeing a lot, and I don't know if you all are, I'm seeing a lot more detail in the faces here. It still looks vintage. And by the way, this is my granny right here. This is my daddy right there with his little curly head, and that's my Uncle Greg. And I'm going to do something with this photo because my granny always gets on me about showing this photo. She's like, my hair wasn't done. I wasn't even supposed to be in the photo. Greg was just crying, so I had to get in the photo to get him to behave to take the picture. So I'll even show you as we do our generations here how we can reference that image and change the hairstyle, change the colors of the garments, all of those cool things. But first, I just want to get the prompts rolling so that you can see what they do. Now this one, Nano Banana Pro, when I changed it to this aspect ratio, you see how it stretched my picture out? I do not like that. So then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open this photo up. And I'm just going to download the image. Now, this is a step that many people don't know and many people are not going to teach you. I'm going to go to the crop tool here in Photoshop. And then for the ratio, I'm going to choose the 2x3. And what happens here, it will no longer stretch my image out because now I'm officially going to have a 2x3 image. The only thing is it is cutting off some details here. Let me see if one is a little bit better. This is actually more of a 4x5. So I'm going to go with the 4x5 ratio here. And I don't even have to crop it. But what I would do at this point is save a copy. Go ahead and crop it. Okay, and then I'm going to do this one as the 4x5. Save it. Make sure it has a 4x5 ratio here. And then I'm going to upload that exact image because it's been cropped exactly for 4x5. Now, I will tell you this, the ChatGPT one is smart. See how it actually added, when I told it to be a square, it added some image to the side there, even the part of the shirt here that was cut off. It continued that and gave me a background. The ChatGPT image generator is smart. It does work well with creating the aspect ratio that you want. But because not all models work that way, I want to show you how you can prep your image that your customer, your client gives you. Make sure that it's cropped to a ratio that you can use for the AI image generator, and then just stay consistent with that image. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and continue with the same prompt with Nano Banana Pro using the 4x5. Seedream 5. Let's see if they have. And this one does not have a 4x5, which a 4x5 is basically an 8x10. So my closest might be 3x4 here. I'm just going to leave it on the 2x3 because this one, the Seedream, doesn't have the 4x5. And let's see if GPT does. Doesn't have a 4x5 either. So I may need to just go ahead and crop it. I like the Nano Banana let me keep it the original size because I didn't want to cut off any of the details here. But I'm probably going to have to go with a 2x3. Unfortunately, it's going to cut off some of my details there. I don't like that. The other thing I can do, if I want to keep the entire details here. Now, this is kind of chancing it here because what I'm doing, I'm going to pull this up a little bit here. I'm telling it that I wanted to make up details in order to do this. So I'm going to hit generative expand because I want it to be a 2x3, but I don't want to lose all of the details on the arm of the shirt. So let's see. We're going to use Firefly in order to do the fill and expand. And because I'm using the crop tool, it's automatically thinking that's what I want to do. Let's go back a second. Oh, there it goes. I thought I hit generate. So I'm hitting generate here. And what it's going to do is all the pixels that it didn't have before, it's going to fill and make up what it thinks should be in that area. So I am using Photoshop to help with this part. And it did kind of like continue the pattern down there. It gave me a little more of that background here. And the top is not too different. The bottom is a little bit different. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with 1 because at least the pants continue there. These look a little odd. That looks odd. So I'm going to go with the first one. Now I'm going to merge it down. And now this is going to be my 2x3 version. So I'm going to save a copy. And I'll call this one 2x3, which means 2x3. And then that way I can use that for pretty much any model is going to have a 2x3 variation. So 2x3 here. I'll go ahead and run this one with GPT. 2x3, run it with the Seedream. And for the 2x3, run it with the Nano Banana Pro. And now we'll be comparing apples to apples. Now, see how it's being a little bit different here. It's still giving like it's a vintage look, but it's colorizing the image, meaning that you see color now in the skin tone, you see color in the clothing there, and it is anticipating what those colors would be. It didn't really have any suggestion being that this is black and white, but you can see that it did a really cool job of adding some color where there was absolutely none before. All right, and so far, let me know in the chat if this is any bit helpful to you all. Oh, you know what? Did I drop the right image in here? I didn't. Let me drop the right image in. Refresh. And I have to have the 2x3 image uploaded in order for this to work. So see how this one is a little stretched out? This one is a Nano Banana Pro 2K. So let me run the Nano Banana Pro 2K with this 2x3 ratio start image. And then once I run it again, it shouldn't stretch my image. See how Nano Banana 2 stretched this image out again? And now it doesn't look good. I don't want you to give anybody images that are stretched out. It just looks distorted. It is not visually appealing. And it does, somebody will be able to see that and not be happy. All right, so 2x3, running Nano Banana. And I'm going to go ahead now, since we have, see how she's not stretched out anymore? And it added like a bench behind them. This actually looks pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now, what is this one? GPT image 2. I'm going to not do the Sea Dream one because apparently it looks like that one is causing issues. Let me see if the 4.5 Sea Dream will work. And let's change the ratio to 2x3 so we can be consistent there. And that was only 1 credit. The reason why I'm comparing these different models too is I want you to see, does the person's face change? Do they still look like the person that is in the original photo? Because sometimes it will change. All right, we're gonna go with prompt number 2 now for objective 2. And I'm gonna move a little faster now, so I'll do the Sea Dream. I'm gonna do the 4.5 because the 5.0 looks like it's just pooping out on me. Let's do Nano Banana Pro. And then let's also go ahead and do the GPT. Now, the other thing I'm looking at is, am I going to get fast results, or is this thing going to be taking a long time? With the GPT, I do get quality results. Excuse me, y'all. But a lot of times it does come at the cost of it taking longer to create the image. And it's 7 credits versus 2 credits, okay? That's a big deal when you're talking about utilizing your credits. All right, so that's my Nano Banana 2 there. It repaired the damage. If you remember, there was actual tears in the top of this photo. So it repaired the damage and colorized it while still preserving that natural look. All right, and now I'm going to run prompt number 4 here. Prompt number 3 says if it's a black and white image. And now I'm just going to do GPT versus Nano Banana Pro because Sea Dream is just not giving me results right now. Nano Banana Pro is being consistent at this moment. As far as producing results, not taking too long, giving me good quality results. Now this one is GPT. Now I want y'all to keep this in mind. Last time when we did AI class number 97, so if you have access to that one, go watch AI class number 97 versus 124. If you recall, when we were doing Chat GPT, it was changing the faces dramatically. It was making people look kind of cartoony or unrealistic. Now Chat GPT image 2 is preserving the photographic quality. That is a big, big deal that did not exist a year ago. So if you're looking for the proper tools and the advancements, we could do the same exact class a year from the one we just did, of course, the AI 97, and we're getting different results because the technology has changed, our prompting is improved, and also we know what objectives we're going for now. All right, so these are looking good. I'm going into objective 3. Objective 3, let's go back to our working document, is to do a modern high resolution enhancement. So I want to restore this photo as if it was captured today with a high resolution digital camera, preserving the original subjects and composition. I'll run that with Nano Banana Pro. And then I'll run that with the GPT image 2. Get out of my face, sir. Get the boost credits off. I did boost my credits last month, and I think it did work a little bit faster. but I don't think I used it enough to justify actually boosting that. Now, if I have a major project coming up, then I may boost my credits because I will be doing a lot of these images. Say, for instance, you're doing a memorial slideshow, and you're doing it several of those for several different clients. You want to be able to generate multiple images, more than 8 at a time, then that's where you would boost it. But if you're not consistently doing more than 8 images at a time, you should be great with the subscription that I showed you all before. Now, this one looks like I see a little bit of change in the face here. And this is where I'm telling you, you want to make sure that the image looks the same, because I think what it did here was it created more of a smiling effect. Like her eyes are smiling a little bit more here. When the original photo, let's go to the original, does not have that same facial expression. So it does look like her, but her facial expression is different, which could be a form of enhancing. And like I said, we're also going to go into, hey, change the wardrobe, change the hair, things of that nature, so that you do know how you can make this for, let's say we needed to do a program. If you were doing a program, you could use, let's say, a picture, and I'll show you a picture of one of my relatives. He's in overalls, and he was always pretty much in overalls. So we wanted to do a nice program for him. Maybe we wanted him to be in a suit. You can put him in a suit, restore the photo at the same time, and get some excellent results that we never would have had a source image, for that program. Right, and this one does look sharper in terms of with the digital photo, but it's still black and white. We didn't tell it to colorize. So if we wanted that to colorize, then we would put that into the prompt. And this one was GPT image 2. And then we can colorize. Just adding the word colorize, then that will add color to this image. All right, we're going to try, or we're going to run prompt number 2. And then because this one does not say anything about color, I'm just going to put colorize in it. Simple word, just put the word colorize if it's a black and white photo. And I'll do it for GPT image 2, Nano Banana Pro. Now I'll run with prompt number 3 for the modernize. And then this one says realistic color. So because it's putting in the word color, I don't have to put colorize in this one. And now, because I realized that ChatGPT and Nano Banana Pro are giving me similar results, but the ChatGPT 2 is taking a lot longer and taking up pretty much almost 4 times the credits, I'm just going to run the rest of these with the Nano Banana Pro so that we can see how those prompts fare. And I'm just using the prompts that we've already created and have for you inside of the working document. And I don't know if you all realize this, but in the photo, you see I was missing the eye here. Sometimes you'll have photos that it's either like very, very bad contrast, missing parts of the image. And so you are doing some deep reconstructing. So these next few prompts, this objective 4, is to repair severe damage or missing details. And this one does have missing details. So we're going to go ahead and run these top 3. So it's rebuilding the damaged facial features, rebuilding or restoring heavily damaged photos. So these prompts are, the last section is meant for those photos that just really have a lot going on, maybe even seems impossible. Okay. Let's get those rolling. All right, so now that we have some pretty good images here to work with, let's get that out of our face. Boy, this one does look like it's like a real day digital coloring and all. All right, and I'm just looking for which one stands out to me more. I really like this one. All right, and then what I can do here is I can reference this image. And I can tell it to give a different outfit or change the hairstyle. If you want to be specific and you have a certain hairstyle, you can absolutely do that too. Let me see if I had a prompt for you last time. All right, so for this one, what I want to do is I want to colorize her or the woman's dress with neutral, neutral, tan tones, because I'm going to remove the blue. Change her hairstyle to a 1960s curled style. And I want to put African American. Then I want to add subtle, subtle. Y'all don't get mad at me because I spell things out with this English language is confusing. Subtle. So we're going to add subtle lip color. And I'm just going to stop right there because my granny really doesn't wear like mascara or eyebrow arching or any of that stuff. So we're going to keep it subtle lip color. Let that go. And then this one, I'm going to run it 3 different times just to see if I get something different here with the same prompt. See if it gives me a different hairstyle. See if it gives me different lip colors. And the idea here is now I'm going to modify the image so that it still comes from the original photo, but I want to maybe coordinate the colors of like my dad here. He was wearing the neutral colors, but she's wearing the blue. If I can go ahead and pull this together and make this look like a cohesive shoot, that even though she was never intending to be in the photo shoot, now she can be in there coordinating with the little ones. Oh, looks so good. And this looks like how she would have done her hair. And look at the subtle lip color. It's not really, really dark. It's not overpowering. Oh, these look nice. Look at these hairdos, y'all. So I get to ask Granny which hairdo she would wear. I can't wait to show her these. All right, so and this one, look, it took the print all the way off and just gave the neutral toner, which I like that too. This looks a little more timeless in terms of sometimes print patterns can be a little dated here. But yeah, Granny looked like Monique right there a little bit. So I feel like it did change the face a bit here when it changed that lip color. But just the lip color itself changes the face, so that might be what it is. Now, what I would do if I really want to make sure it's the same person, because sometimes we don't know other people's families. So to us, it might be a very subtle issue, but let me show you what I do if I'm offering restoration services and I'm not sure, did it change her face too much? I'm going to download all 3 of these because they should all be the 2:3 ratio, right? So boom, watch this. Go into Photoshop. I'm going to open up my 2:3 version. There it is. All right, I'm going to get out of my crop mode. Just go to my move tool. And then I'm going to drag and drop my new variations with the hairstyle, okay? Now for this blend mode, I'm gonna put it on difference. So I want y'all to see something here. Am I teaching y'all something y'all never knew before? Is this something new? I want to know now, because this ain't the same class as the AI-97. I could have just taught the same class, the exact same class, and just showed you there's a difference in AI quality now. But I got to show you something new every time. Every time we touch base, I got to show you something I learned, okay? All right, so look here. Anywhere that you see this outline here shift and change means that's a part of the image that's not the same as the original. So if you see some very significant changes around the eyes or some very significant changes around the nose or lips, it may mean that it changed those features on that person. And that may mean that you don't want to use that image because it could be startling and very different for your client, and that may not fare very well. Okay, sometimes people might be a little delusional when AI does certain things to them and they don't know that they don't look like them no more. Okay, but this is for you to use. This is using science here. This is mathematically placing light as difference here. And the only way that you're going to see that there's a difference is where you see this stark change in this outline here. Okay, so this is Photoshop. What we did was we changed the blend mode of this top one to difference. That's it. Okay, just change it to difference. All right, let's try the next one here. We ain't trying nothing, we doing it. Okay, let's go ahead and change these 2 blend modes to difference as well. But what I'm going to do is turn off, it can only be the one layer on top of the main layer, right? So everything stays the same. And get this, because I told you the first trick or the first method, because it's not a trick, it's a method. The first method was to make sure that this was an exact 2:3 image, correct? So then when we developed our AI version of the image, it didn't have to make up extra pieces of the arm or background or anything else. It was exactly a 2:3 image. So then when I stack that image on top of the image that I initially used, now it gives me more of the base that I was looking for. Does that make sense? Okay, so here again, and here we see where it did create this part of the eye here, because remember that wasn't there before. Now the hair is different. Granny, I fixed that hair. I'm talking about Granny was 38 hot with me for putting that picture on these here internets. You hear me? She didn't tell me that. But she told one of my aunts, she was like, "Oh, Shannon put that picture of me up there." Because you know it's gonna get around to her. She on Facebook too. All right, so here I see some differences here. I don't really care too much about the clothing. I'm mainly looking at the areas of the face and the eyes. You can see that the eyes did change in this image. So here, I'm gonna duplicate this layer and just make a normal version of it. And what I'm gonna do is turn it off, turn it back on. And I do see that it changed the eyes, like it gave it a little bit darker here, almost like she has a little bit of mascara, not mascara, but little eyeliner up top here. Okay, it kept the highlights. You see the 2 little highlights here in this eye and the 2 little highlights here. It did maintain that. Change the clothing up, of course, because the clothing is where it showed that difference in highlights there. I'm looking at the kiddos. That's looking good. This is looking good, y'all. I'm gonna ask Granny which hairstyle she liked the best. Okay. And then finally, this last one looks pretty good here as well. Of course, the hair is different. Does that make sense how this is working out now, y'all? And I thought it changed the picture, but look, when I put it back on difference, she just really, really looks different with darker lipstick on. Let's duplicate this layer and let's make this one normal so we can see the difference. Now I will say this, you see the teeth showing right there a little bit? Their teeth showing right there a little bit. On this image, the lips are closed. So you see where it's white right here? That's a difference in the image. The teeth are not showing anymore, which is why it may have looked a little bit different for her lips. Do y'all see this? Is this making sense, y'all? Let me know something in the chat. I want to get y'all on a whole nother level of photo restoration. Anybody can just throw a photo to AI and just say, hey, restore this photo, restore this photo. You can have a million prompts to say, restore this photo. But what I really want you to understand is our techniques that I use as a professional so that my stuff is going to look a step above somebody that doesn't know these extra nuances. Okay. All right. So I want to, let's see, let's do one more change here. Let's do, instead of colorize a woman's dress, let's do change the woman's dress to a church dress from 1963. Now what I can do here, instead of change her hairstyle, add subtle lip color, I can take this prompt and I can reference the one, let's say I like this one with the flip. I like the little flip. Go granny with the flip. Okay, and it has a subtle lip color. So I'll take this one. Now I can reference it. So it put that image as the reference. And I'm going to change it to a church dress. Okay. And I'll put change the boy on the left and the baby on the right. So I want to change the outfit to church suits and shoes. Okay, because this one does have some shoes there. So let's give that a whirl. And again, I'm going to go 3 times. And I'll also do it with the one here because I do like the subtle color of this lip. I like this hairstyle as well. So I'm going to reference that one. Get rid of the previous image. Paste that prompt. And let these 3 go. And again, because this is a 2:3 ratio, every time you change something in AI, it does give you a possibility of messing up your image because it's iterations of changes. It may start changing details, changing the face. And I'm going to put the baby boy because that one I think got confused and thought that was a girl. You know, babies, you don't know. But I did say church suits, so I would have thought that it would understand it was a boy. Look at the church suits. Y'all, my daddy has a picture just like this with these little short style, with his little socks pulled up. And my brother has a picture like that too, almost in that same style. Granny used to dress us. I'm talking about I had to dress with all the ruffles. You can find not nan dress that I had without no ruffles and that big old lace white ruffles all around every layer. And I'm talking about several layers. Now this is looking good. So here's the deal, depending on the level of restoration, if you are looking for what to charge, I would say add at least at least charge $15. Because what will happen, you're going to get good at restoration the more you do it and the more you understand what a client truly wants. You want to be able to make at least enough money to pay for the credits that you use and also build your portfolio and your skills. Now, if I'm doing this for a funeral home, and this is something that we can do here, inside of our custom print marketing expert, let's go back to our conversation that we had earlier with our custom print marketing expert. Let's see. Go to my projects. All right, so I'm going to go to this one here. And I'm just going to talk to it. For the photo restoration services, I want you to help me come up with a price list. I want you to also think about the fact that I would be doing this for individuals and also for the funeral homes. I would like to have some type of package deal for the funeral home so that it goes based on credits that they can use up monthly. I don't expect that they would use all of their credits, but it would incentivize them buying packages from me for a monthly fee rather than just paying per photo. Please research my competitors and make sure that my photo restoration services are competitively priced, but also fair. All right, so I'm just showing you, this is AI too now. It ain't always about making pictures. A lot of times it's about the information that you can get. Now, this is, if you were not there for our AI Create-a-thon week, this is, remember, we were doing a custom GPT where we were talking to the custom print marketing expert about our memorial project and how we're going to build up a part of our website. We're going to build up certain products. We're going to build up certain features and collections. So this is just adding on to that. All right, so it already has the understanding that we already talked about in the beginning of the AI Create-a-thon. All right, so it's thinking right now here. I do have it on high, so it might take a little moment to think. So while it's thinking, I'm going to put it up on my other screen because I don't trust ChatGPT to work. If you own another tab, I think it just basically stalls out. Meanwhile, let's take a look here. Now this one, it sat the baby up. Do y'all see that? My Uncle Greg was slumped. He was slumped back. He was probably throwing a fit, and my granny got in there to get him to take the picture. Now, this one just sat him completely up, made it look more proper, but at the same time, it's going to change the facial features because it's not the same angle. I just want y'all to be aware of that. It even changed my dad's hand here. Remember, it was on his face. He was doing that cute little, basically that little dimple finger to the face thing. Look at that. It pulled his hand down so that it looks more like a professional staged photo. But doesn't that make sense? Because sometimes you have, well, one kid is looking at the camera, the other one is doing something crazy. And now you see that you can actually edit that. You can even tell it if you like this one specifically, hey, place the boy on the left, place his hand by his side instead of on his face, right? And it would change that posture there. But this is too cool, y'all. Look at my Greg with his little blazer on. And look at my daddy with his little suit on. Too cool, too cool. All right, let's go back to our GPT because this is the end of our AI class for tonight, y'all. Yes, it's over that quick. All right, but this is interesting. This is interesting. Competitor pricing snapshot. It actually, if you look, it gives you your competitors too, like the actual research that it did. So if you want to click on their website and check them out, check out your competitors. Why wouldn't you check out your competitors, right? Look how they're doing. They're showing this before and after. You can absolutely do that as well. Let me show y'all something else. Since unfortunately in customer happiness, if you will put on the craft equip, because we're doing the double Photoshop and AI, we will not be able to run a craft equip session tonight after that, because that would be way too long of a class. So just let craft equip know that we'll resume next week. I apologize, but that's what technology does to us. We rely on it, but it also lets us down, okay? So I'm giving y'all a little bit of what we would be doing in Craft to Quit anyway. All right, so giving me a price list, giving me some of my competitors. Check this out. It's telling me packages, okay? How many credits they can buy. Basically, if they need an emergency rush, then it'd be 2 credits, so we can price per credit. It is even, y'all look, it's even giving us the name of the packages: Essential Care, Chapter Partner, Director Plus, Premier, Memorial Desk. So this is saying, hey, if you pay $149 a month, you get 12 credits. And of course, you can tailor these based on what your experience is. So you got to charge also for your experience. Even if other people are charging less than you, but it takes them longer or they make more mistakes, somebody will pay more for the quality and making sure that you get it done the right time. Like I said, even this little Photoshop hack here, y'all, everybody don't know about this, okay? You know how to actually make sure that a person's face did not change. You feel me? Okay, let me see what else is giving us the credits. So here's family pricing here, or the public pricing, right? And you want to let the funeral homes know that they're getting special kind of bulk pricing. But family, $18 for memorial ready portrait enhancement. I said 15. 18 is actually more like it because 15 is a little lower budget, but it's less than 20, right? So I feel like that's a strong number. And this is just enhancement. Now, if you actually need to do real restoration, then you can get into higher rates here. However, I'm just going to tell y'all to keep it simple, and just have an enhancement, a restoration, and then do one where you're doing things like a wardrobe. And here, I'm just going to talk to it, because why not? This thing knows me. All right, what I want to do for the pricing and also for the understanding, I want to be very clear what the difference is between a memorial ready portrait enhancement, any type of light restoration, and any type of major reconstruction where we're adding makeup, changing hair, changing wardrobe. I think those 3 levels there would be everything that I need to show. Can you give me a breakdown of those with prices? And also, if you feel like that is an adequate product separation, or do I need more categories? Now, I'm asking it that because I feel like I don't need a bunch of categories, but I want it, instead of just agreeing with me on everything, I want it to challenge me as well and give its input. And then if we wanted to get into the funeral home pricing, we can do that as well. But I want to kind of keep this surface level because we're into our Photoshop time. But I did want to show you that using AI with our AI in Action series is not just about creating images. It's also about, what is your strategy? What's your purpose? What are you doing to build better and to do better? And what I'll do in one of our Craft to Quit sessions, let me put my notes down for this one. We're going to do one of our Craft to Quit sessions, we'll do a SEO optimized. So we'll do SEO optimized page for photo restoration. And we'll do one product. So I'll show you how to do that. Once I show you how to do that for your photo restoration and your one product, then you can go, hey, I want to do this for my casket wrap. I want to do this for my t-shirt. So basically you have an SEO listing that's going to be optimized for each product that you offer. And then when you offer your collection, we'll also have an idea of what the page would look like based on all of the products that you actually offer, not just pie in the sky hypothetical. We'll drop real images in from the Automizer and tell it that, hey, this is the collection I have. Let's create an SEO optimized, beautiful page layout for this collection. And then it will give you ideas of what your hero image should be, what your collection images should be. If you're going to have any call outs or call to actions like shop now, pay later, those sorts of things, we can actually build a page from that SEO optimized. So we're going to do that in our one of our craft to quit sessions for this project, for this memorial project. All right, so technically I'm done here with the AI portion. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. You all hung tight up in there, and maybe y'all are being quiet because y'all are working right now and you got excited and you're doing some restoration of your own. I hope so. I hope this class was helpful. We're going to move on now to the Photoshop side. So I'm going to give like a 5-minute break. We're going to stay in this Zoom room. I'm just going to give a 5-minute break, and we will continue to record the Zoom session on the YouTube. But Customer Happiness, if you want to break now, we can, so that we'll have a separate video on the back end of the Zoom, okay? Yes, this is amazing. Thank you, my love. I can't wait to see what you all are creating. Make sure you share and do your homework, okay? 5 minutes. I'll see y'all back here at 8:10, okay? All right.
The sky with a whisper loud. A brushstroke cuts through every cloud. My thoughts run wild, no change, no bounds. Electric colors in a concrete town. I'm the architect of my own spark, a firework igniting in the dark. Creativity is my superpower. Snap a rhyme, make the broken man. A kaleidoscope spinning in my chest. This canvas bleeds, but it's my best. Ideas collide, a thunderous roar. They crack the ground and break the floor. Creativity is my superpower. Turning dust to gold in the final hour. I build a world with a single thought. No cage, just dreams. It's all I've got.
Hey loves! We would like to introduce to you the Innate Academy Class Finder. This notebook LM is designed to help you quickly find the class you need without scrolling through every lesson under 4 to 8 unlocking. Inside this notebook, we've uploaded the updated list of Innate Academy AI and PSD classes from unlocking 4 to 8. Simply type what you're looking for in the search box. Just ask like in ChatGPT. For example, you can search what the class numbers are for birthday party, graduation, wedding, baby shower, memorial, or any other project or theme. Notebook LM will tell you which class numbers cover the topic that you're looking for. Once you've found the class number, go back to the unlocking 4 to 8 at the back end. Scroll straight to that class number. There you'll find the complete video lesson, downloadable files, and all other resources for that class. It's a quick and easy way to find exactly what you need so you can spend more time creating and less time searching. Now you're ready to find any class in seconds. Start searching, keep creating, and have fun learning with Innate Academy. Hi loves! Welcome to our advanced Photoshop class. In this class, you'll learn how to create amazing template designs from scratch using advanced Photoshop techniques. You will discover professional tools, smart workflows, and design methods that will help you work faster and create better results. This is a great opportunity to learn from a Photoshop and a printing business expert. The discussions here will not only be about creative design techniques, but also professional tips on measurements, precision, and industry best practices. Since this is now an advanced PSD class, there's no more steps to do before our live class starts. However, after every live class, you have to follow this checklist. You'll see this at the back end of your course. First, wait for the zip file, download and unzip it, install the fonts, have your own assets ready, and start designing from scratch. Use the recap video as your guide, then post your final designs in our Facebook page. Now, get ready to learn new skills and have fun creating incredible designs using Photoshop. Please hang tight, our class is about to begin.
I paint the sky with a whisper loud. A brushstroke cuts through every cloud. My thoughts run wild, no change, no bounds. Electric colors in a concrete town. I'm the architect of my own spark, a firework igniting in the dark. Creativity is my superpower. Turning dust to gold in the final hour. I build a world with a single thought. No cage, just dreams. It's all I've got. I bend the rules like a melody bends. Snap a rhyme, make the broken man. A kaleidoscope spinning in my chest. This canvas bleeds, but it's my best. Ideas collide, a thunderous roar. They crack the ground and break the floor. Creativity is my superpower. Turning dust to gold in the final hour. I build a world with a single thought. No cage, just dreams. It's all I've got.
Hey loves! We would like to introduce to you the Innate Academy Class Finder. This Notebook LM is designed to help you quickly find the class you need without scrolling through every lesson under 4 to 8 unlocking. Inside this notebook, we've uploaded the update.
What's up, my loves and fellow creatives? Welcome to our advanced Photoshop class. We're going to be building a program, in particular funeral program, from scratch, but I'm going to be showing you how I get the resources and the guidelines and all of the things in order to even prepare this. Sometimes you'll buy templates online and it's not necessarily for the printer that you're using. So I'm going to show you these steps here just so that you can make certain. Just really quickly, I'm not going to go in depth into it, but one of the printers that I like to use is called 4over. I've given y'all this resource over and over again. They do print very nice specialty business cards and all of that as well. So we're going to be looking here just for our bifold. I'm just going to type in the word bifold. And hold on. Let me see. Booklets. Some of the booklets. All right. So I just want to point out that there are different sizes of booklets, programs, whatever you want to call them. I'm certain that there are plenty of companies, even local companies, that will build these for you. So what I want to do here, I'm going to do 8.5 by 11. And if you're just doing 4 pages, technically, when you are designing for, and I talked to you all last week about like using Publisher or InDesign, different programs that are meant for multiple page design. You can even use Canva for that. It is not the optimal program for that, but it works for me even better than Photoshop when you're doing those multiple pages, because you can get your general setup designed in Photoshop, bring it over to Canva, and then implement your sections with your text a little bit easier with Canva versus Photoshop. Just makes it a little more editable, that's all, with the text in mind. If you look here, everything is in 4-page increments. Why? Because when you're designing a booklet, because it is a bifold, you technically have 4 pages, even if you're just using a single page. So what that means is that if I'm just using a single page here, and let's go to, we'll go to our satin book. 4 pages is technically 1 page folded in half. Why? Because there's a front, back, and then there's a left and right inside. If you notice here, I can go up, but I'm going up 4 pages every time. So you have an 8, a 16, 12, and this particular one only goes up to that size here. But if you're doing programs, more than likely you're not doing a lot of pages anyhow. But there are options. Let's say you're doing a magazine style and you want to do a lot of pages, you do have options here. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this website also is because I want you to see that there are templates that are available, and it gives you specifications. So I don't want to start showing you how to design without showing you the background of how I design as a professional designer. So for this one, it says to do 300 DPI. So I would not really design this one as a 150 DPI because it is going to be handheld print in your face rather than a large shirt that's going to be standoff, or a backdrop or sign that's going to be a fair distance from where you're going to be viewing. It also tells you that the color mode needs to be in CMYK. Listen to your printer. I have a printer that people swear is, oh, a CMYK, large format. You need to make sure you design everything in CMYK. I design an RGB and it translates very well to my printer. However, if I send that same RGB file to another printer who utilizes a different CMYK large format printer, those colors are completely off. And they do require that the artwork be submitted as CMYK. So just pay attention to your printer, what their requirements are. And I just want you to be aware that that's going to be a big issue in what colors you're going to be able to really achieve. It's called a color gamut. You're not able to achieve a full color gamut with CMYK like you would with RGB. If we go into color theory, RGB is based on light, CMYK is based on pigment. You cannot get the same colors that light emits on your screen with pigment mixing. It's just not going to be that range of colors that you can get on your screen. So CMYK lets you design in the limited mode so that you never get excited about a color you can never print, just to put it to you fairly like that. All right, so here, typically what you're doing when you create a booklet, now this, I believe, is the booklet size, not the page size that you're going to fold. So if you want an 8.5 by 11 booklet, then more than likely, you're going to be doing an 11 by 17 page that is folded in half or bifold in order to get an 8.5 by 11 booklet. That would be like a magazine. Now, a lot of times you'll see with the funeral programs, it's actually an 8.5 by 5.5 because they take the 8.5 by 11 and they fold it in half. All right, and I'm just gonna grab the JPEG for this one real quick. Boom. I'll grab the JPEG for, and I'm doing portrait because most of the time we're gonna be doing portrait, y'all. Let me go ahead and grab this JPEG for 8.5 by 11. Okay, and these are at 300 DPI more than likely. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the one that says 5.5 by 8.5. Okay, and what I'll do, if you don't have your rulers on here, then just make sure that you go to view and then the show. Oh, there it is, view and then put rulers on. If you don't see inches here, right click and choose inches. Sometimes you'll see pixels there. Make sure that you see inches. I'll show you what pixels looks like. Right click, show inches. What this shows me is that this is the face or the cover of my book. It's not going to show me the inside there. In order to do the inside, I would end up putting two of these side by side, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So if you're ever looking, and this is actually from the Automizer itself. Let me turn off this images so you can see here. Oh, this was from a book I was doing. Okay, so now I'm going to put the new guides in here, okay? So I'm just gonna drag and drop. Like for any of you all who missed class for a little while, what I'm doing now is I'm showing you all, because most of my students are OG triple OGs, I'm showing you how I build these templates. I'm showing you how I get my resources right. I'm showing you on a professional level how I build these resources up so that not only are you buying the fish, but you're also learning how to fish. And if that's all right with y'all, it's basically me pulling back the curtain and showing you how I do everything that I actually do, okay? Now this image size here, let's go to my image size. It's a 11 by 8.5. I'm designing at 150 because that's how everything in the Automizer is designed on a 150 resolution. However, if you would like, you can change it to 300. Keep the same width and height. Hit OK, and now as you're building in this image, you're going to be building with the idea that this is going to be printed at 300 pixels per inch. Now, because I have confirmed that the height of my paper, and you can see here, the height of my artboard here is 8.5 and the width is 11. Now, if I go drop in my resource now, which I'm going to drag and drop in the 5.5, pull it on over here to this side. Boom, right there. And I want y'all to see this bleed area here. And now what I do is I go over to my rulers and I make my print safe area by pulling down on the rulers. And I'll go ahead and also get, this is the bleed area, this is the print safe area. The difference is the bleed area, you might get some of the image in that area. It's just basically a runoff, i.e. a bleed, right? The print safe area here, this is a safety line. This means that you don't want anybody's face. You don't want any words going outside of this area. You don't want anything that if it got cut off, it would look terrible or spell the wrong thing, okay? So although sometimes we think bigger is better, this is helping us to understand where not to cross the line, literally, okay? And all I'm doing is I'm building my own guidelines up here so that when I do start to design my text, you see how just naturally, I didn't even have these guidelines in here, but just naturally, my imagery and my work is inside of this safe area. But what I'm doing here is I'm placing the guidelines in here so that I can show you better than I can tell you how you would set this up. Okay, so I'm turning everything off while I'm building this right now. Now I'm going to take this same one here and I'm going to alt click and drag it, hold down shift, pull it over. Oh, I meant to get my Michael Jackson glove by holding down my space bar. And I just want to snap it to this edge over here. And then I'm going to build my guidelines here as well. All right. Now, this also is teaching me not to put things directly in the center as well. And although we may want to fit a lot of information, a lot of photos, a lot of text inside of these pages, you just want to make sure that you're being better safe than sorry. If you got somebody's whole face or a whole name that doesn't even spell the person's name anymore because you went too close to your safety line or your bleed area, then you really can't come back from that because that is a huge printing error. And that wasn't the customer's mistake. That was your mistake. So we want to make sure that we just give enough space to where we don't have to reprint a job or upset someone because we just really wanted that picture to be real big and off the page. And now somebody's whole eyeball's cut off or their name isn't correct. All right, so that's baseline there. I want to show you just quickly how you can do these programs. Yes, you can get really, really extremely design intensive when it comes to programs. As a matter of fact, the thing that I charge the most for is basically booklets. I designed a yearbook one time when I was in college. And I actually did it for I was working at Lockheed Martin as an engineer. Like I said, your Photoshop skills will come in handy. I was doing some promotional material for them. They didn't even know I had Photoshop skills. I was working on Photoshop there. Then the boss asked me to do the yearbook for his kids' high school because they really didn't know anybody that had those kind of layout skills. Now, me with my background, of course, I wanted every page to look dynamic. I had it, I was Photoshopping. I was fading off images. That thing was 100 and something pages. And y'all know what I charged for that project? $300. Never again. And I thought $300 was a lot. I was like, they're gonna pay me $300 to design a book. Baby, that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. It was not enough. If I could go back now, I probably would charge a base for something like that, even if it was like 8 pages, at least a base of $150 to be worth my time. Because the way I'm gonna design it is not gonna be just to throw some squares and make a collage of squares on a page. I actually design. So now I know that. I have to find that project one day just to show y'all. It was a lot. So like I said, don't get caught up in thinking that your design prices are too much when it actually involves a level of skill that others do not or will not have. So sorry I got into story time. I apologize for getting into story time. I ain't sorry. But just know your worth. Just put it that way, okay? Don't learn like I did, all right? All right, so what I'm showing you here also is that just laying out this basically, we're gonna have to do an inside and an outside page. So what I typically do is I typically build my outside first. I build my inside while I'm building my outside. And then in terms of like for the Automizer, I do separate the two so that they will propagate separately. All right, but I'm actually just going to show you from the outside here. So I'm going to take these two here, just duplicate those layers, bring them on over to the outside version. Boom, let's close that out. Now, the other thing here is designing in CMYK. So you're going to end up limiting yourself. If you start, for instance, let's say you start your shirt design in CMYK, but you are able to print more of the RGB colors, and that's how you're typically printing the majority of your products. When you switch to CMYK mode, it's going to dull your colors down, and it's going to probably disappoint you quite a bit. Just understand that that's going to be for some of your paper printed or offset printing processes, and not necessarily for everything that you do. All right, so what I'll do is I'm just going to show you at the end. I'm not going to build this in CMYK. I will show you at the end how. Like if you go to image before you even started building the page, you can go to mode and change it to CMYK color. When you do that, it's going to ask you, do you want to merge? Because it understands that you're going to get into some murky waters changing RGB to CMYK. Hit don't merge. If it says rasterize, do not hit rasterize because it will flatten everything out. Hit don't rasterize. And I'm just going to show you here now. You'll probably see these reds get a little bit duller. Where you're really going to see that is if you have some really vibrant greens and some vibrant yellows and some really, really pretty bright pinks and purples, you'll see them dull out. And it's unfortunate. It makes you a little bit sad, but at least you could be more realistic when you submit those colors and those proofs to your customers. You're not showing them really vibrant colors that will never ever print with CMYK. All right. And I'll tell y'all what, while I'm teaching, if you all have, you once tried to print neon green, bless your heart, Anita. Now I'll be having some ways to punch up some colors and get some things going, but it is definitely trial and error, okay? It's not fun, and you definitely won't get the exact color. So I just want you all, I'm looking at the notes now. Let me know if something is helpful. If it was something that you didn't know, let me know, because my goal is to make sure that I'm teaching you all something new every time, and also reiterating some very core concepts and principles as well. So let me know if anything that I say is helpful or you didn't know that before. And then also you are able to ask your questions in the chat. And if it's relevant to what I'm working on, then I can answer them while I'm working. Does that make sense? That's the whole reason why we're doing this advanced level stuff, okay? It said a bifold that opens like a pizza box. Oh yeah, so you can do a bifold that opens, that's called the landscape way. So bifold opens up landscape. I have seen that for like maybe coupon books. I've seen that for some specialty programs, but it's not the norm. The norm is a portrait style, but don't ever think that somebody doesn't want something just because it's not common. All right, the same principles apply if you were doing this bifold, opening up the horizontal way, or what they call the landscape way. Okay, how much of each do you make? Half inch. Christy, what do you mean by that? How much each do I make half inch? Are you talking about the bleed areas there? And if you are talking about the bleed areas, I'm not measuring it. I'm going by what my printer supplier says that they use here. And you'll notice here that when I brought over my images, I need to change my image size to 300 pixels per inch, and then bring over my guidelines or my guides. These are my guides here. Because let me show you what happens. Now that it's 300 pixels per inch, if I go to duplicate layers and put that on my outside, it's going to pop in the right size. See, before, if I turn that off, these popped in way bigger. Why? Because my file was set up as 150 pixels per inch instead of 300 pixels per inch. Do you get that that makes my my image quality and my image size? Well, I'll say that the size that it pulled in double the size. The file itself, when you double the file, the pixels per inch, it will sometimes make that file 10 times larger, just the file itself, because it's giving it high quality output. Even though it's the same size document, it's still 8.5 by 11, 150 pixels per inch versus 300 pixels per inch. definitely changes. So let's see that. Let's see that math in real time. 32 megabytes is what it is at 300. 8 megabytes is what it is at 150. So we're looking at pretty much 4 times. By making it twice as high resolution, we're making it 4 times the file size, right? So I'm just letting you know, the only time I design in 300 pixels per inch is when I am doing like 13 by 19s or smaller, okay? When I'm doing all over shirts, I don't even design in 300 pixels per inch for all over shirts. I don't care what nobody says. Send me the 300 pixels per inch. You're lying, because if I upload my image right now as an all over shirt to ArtsAd with 300 pixels per inch, it will tell me my file is too large. So that's why I'm telling you what I know for a fact. Even though these websites are telling me they want 300 pixels per inch, they can't even handle the upload size of that. So when I'm doing banners, backdrops, those sorts of things, quite often I'm not giving them 300 pixels per inch image, because the upload size is very fickle. Some websites will handle, and I do have one website that'll tell me, hey, you didn't send me 300 pixels per inch. Their website can handle those type of uploads, and they expect you to send them a 300 pixels per inch for a backdrop, which is a very large file, and it will eat up some space on your computer, okay? I'm just letting you know in terms of the quality that I see printed. The quality that you should be most concerned with is with your input images. Your photos that you bring in, I don't care if your file is 300 pixels per inch. If the photo you got was from Facebook, it's 72 pixels per inch at about 4 inches tall. So when you go blow that up on a poster, it's going to look horrific, horrific. And a backdrop, even worse than a poster. So I do show you all, of course, I've shown you over and over again how to upscale your images and prepare them for large format graphics. If you have a low quality image, I would even upscale them for the purpose of even doing this funeral program, okay? This is something that everybody's gonna keep for years and years and years to come. You want your work to speak the highest of qualities. Oh, so Christy, for yours, if the one that you're doing is, do you know what size it is? Here, I'm gonna put this link in the chat right here. Even if you're not using this company to print, it's good to have the guidelines from this kind of company. And it tells you the bleed here is 0.125. That's the full bleed, and then it says 0.625 on each side. So it's telling you what the measurements are for the bleed. And then this one can do spot UV and foiling and those type of extra techniques, which look really great for this kind of stuff. But very seldomly are funeral projects ever going to give you enough time to do those specialty finishes, just letting you know. Let's see here. So you would be doing a landscape horizontal here. Is your finished book going to be 8.5 by 11, or is your finished book going to be using 8.5 by 11 paper? And by the time it's finished size is going to be 8.5 by 5.5. Which one is it? So that way I can direct you to which template is going to help you best. And I'll be looking out for your response, Christy, but I'm going to go ahead and move on. But if you know which one, I can help you out, okay? All right, so let me get out of that. And now we're in the CMYK mode. So as we build, we're going to see how those colors can shift and change. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these ideas here. Remember, we did these ideas in AI. So if you wonder where this came from, this was from my AI Create-a-thon. I didn't just make it up just now. We been did this. If you missed that, it's okay. Just go back and watch the replay. All right, that's why y'all are my VIPs. All right, so depending on which layout you want, this one here just has no photos and text. This one has an order of service, the obituary, and a photo, which I think is more likely. So I'm going to go off of this design here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the elements from our shirt design in order to design our funeral program. All right, and I'm going to start with the outside here. I'm going to let this go. Not going to save that. I'm going to delete these images that came in too large because I didn't have it at 300 pixels per inch. And then I'm going to make sure that everything is lined up on the edge here. Recreate my guidelines because it's quick enough to do that. And this is just to help me understand where I don't want to cross with text or important parts of an image. All right, it's helping me get set up here. And you know what? I am going to open up the inside one because I'm going to be using this information here just to build off of. All right, so here's the beautiful thing. If you're used to working in the Automizer, how the Automizer works is to keep you functionally organized and beautifully efficient, okay? What that means is I can use stuff like the foreground and the background and some of the repeated elements and accents that we use in order to build my design, and I don't have to fret about all the specific details. Now, when you're designing a program, yes, you need to make sure your text is right and all of that great stuff, but this just simplifies the process, okay? So for this one, let's see here. I'm going to go to my folder for my 355. All right, and when I go to my folder for 355, if you have the Automate generator plugins, if you have that image assets check mark on, then it will make you a magic folder. I even showed y'all in last class, in the 355 class, how to make that magic folder. Remember, we put the .png after everything. Like I said, I'm teaching you how I do everything that I do. No holds back, no wool over your eyes, none of that. I'm exposing it all. Everything that I do, I'm showing you exactly how I do it. All right, so because the file is here, it automatically generates this 355 assets folder. I'm going to open that up. And I'm going to view those extra large icons there. And how it's labeled here, I have the background texture apart from the background watercolor there. Have this cluster left and right. I even have some elements like the dates and the in love and memory, the name and that sort of thing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to turn that one off. And let's grab the main name here. And the way that I'm going to make this one a special asset, I'm going to open that up. So I'm going to do the text for the name Jasmine here. I'm going to right click and just find the word Jasmine, see what folder it's in. So it says text Jasmine. If I put a .png at the end, now it will create that as an image. See that? Now, of course, you can have editable things inside of your program. More than likely, you want editable things inside of your program. Like this text box is a smart object, but it has editable text in it. So what that's going to do for you, the reason why I have it as a smart object is because I want to preserve what it does, even though I'm using it inside of the Automizer. However, if I'm doing like 16 pages, 20 pages, I'm probably not going to design all of my pages in Photoshop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to design, more than likely, I'm going to turn this off for a second. I'm going to design my cover, which is my front and my back in Photoshop. And I'm going to design what my inside is going to look like as a baseline, right? So this little white box here, which makes my image pop off no matter if my background is light or dark. This little white box helps my black text stand in front of it. And what I'm going to be using here is I'm going to show you how I use the AI suggestion of the program to basically choose my colors and how I design this. So I won't even need the white box here, because what it's suggesting here is that I use a light color background, black text, some of these little dividers here, and of course, there are some text boxes. So I'm going to show you how to build all that from scratch. All right, like literally show you how to build it from scratch based on this design concept here. Now, this doesn't even look like a real size page because it's all stretched out. So we're going to have to keep that in mind too. So matter of fact, let me go ahead and take this one, and I'm going to duplicate that and put that onto my outside. And I'm just going to bring it up to the top here so you all can see that even though AI gave me this idea, it's not printable size. It's not even the right orientation. Okay. All right, my apologies. I'm unmuted now. Okay, so I'm gonna take this, put it in the center there. And I'm gonna hold down Shift just to stretch it out. And the reason why I'm stretching it out is because I need to know where placement of things are, not that I want my images to be stretched out like this. But when AI gives you a suggestion, it's not real. That's what I mean, even if I told it exactly the ratios to have, I still need to be the professional printer. I need to understand, is this the right ratio? Is this scaling properly? Is this going to get cut off? And what adjustments do I need to make? So just keeping this simple here, this is what we're doing. All right, now what I'll be showing you is how to build like your text boxes and that sort of thing. So I'm going to build this from our little folder here. And this is technically my inside pages, but we'll go back and grab the outside pages as well. And really for the outside page, I'm going to keep it simple, y'all. I'm going to do the foreground here. Go ahead and open it. That is my foreground from my shirt. Works out pretty much perfectly. Let's see, let's save. And let's close by doing Control S, Control W. That's my foreground, my background. All right, I'm going to get rid of this layer below because I'm using these PNGs here. And just instantly, you'll see with the foreground and background from the 355 template, it already gives me a basis to work from. You see that? It's pretty much already done. If I want to make it more transparent, which I do, you have a couple of options. You can take the image here and just decrease the opacity. That way it makes it a very subtle color. You can also play with the levels if you wanted to decrease those levels in order to make it more transparent or less contrast and lighter. You can do that as well. So I'm going to bring the opacity down here. This only works if your background color is white. If you don't have a background color there, or you have any other color other than white as your background color, changing this transparency does not do the same thing, okay? Now, this is my simplest thing I could possibly do here. And now that I have my guidelines, I can be a little bolder with my placement here. I can even have my flowers go off a little bit if I wanted to, outside of the outline, outside of the outlines, because that is my bleed area. What I never want to go outside of this area is the text or a person's face. So I can get a little more substantial here with this. I still don't want it cutting off my leaves there, so I want to keep that inside of my bleed area. But I can be a little more bold with where this image goes. Okay, now keep in mind, this is the same image from the t-shirt, so I really didn't do any additional work whatsoever. However, if you're gonna build a different image, meaning that maybe you're gonna have different text here up top or bottom, then you can build that image with straight up text the same way that I'm gonna show you to do how to do the inside pages, okay? So we're gonna build the inside pages from the individual elements. I just wanted to see how easy it was to do that outside. Okay. And let's see this one. I am, oh, I see here. When I changed my opacity, I need to take this layer mask here. I'm gonna alt click and drag it down here as well. How about this? I'll show you how to put a layer mask on there. Let me delete it all together. So I can show you it wasn't hard to do that. Now, when I do my layer mask for the front versus the back, I'm gonna go based on this center here, pull that all the way down, create a layer mask. Now, if I want to make sure that the other layer mask is the exact opposite, I'm not going to do the whole, the square marquee or the rectangular marquee again. What I'm going to do is alt click and drag. Oops, it did not alt click and drag. Hold down alt, click and drag. See how now it's a double arrow there? And then what I'm going to do is on this background, I'm going to do Control I to invert it. Then I'm going to unlink this one so that I can move the background layer separately. I'm just going to hold down Shift so that I can pull it to the right a little bit there. All right, and then for this one, I'm going to hold down Shift, pull it to the right there. I want it to look like it's continuous here. And then that way I can turn back on my little text box for the back. I can lock in my layer mask with my image again. And then those are good to go. All right, and for the text here, for the back here, this already has built up some text and everything. I'm going to show you how we edit this. But first, I want to show you how I build it from scratch, and then you'll understand, oh, so when she makes a template, it just saves me a bunch of time. I can still go in, change the fonts, change the colors and that sort of thing. But the placement is already there for me, so it makes it simple. All right, so what we're going to be doing is I'm going to turn off the outside here. All right, and then what I'll do is I'll go to my 355 because I want to make sure I'm using the same text and fonts here. So I'll turn off this suggestion here. And for instance, where I have the date, I'm going to close up my little folders here. I'm going to take the date with that color, duplicate that layer, put it onto my outside. And drop it onto my artboard here. I'm turning off my color one because it's really large. Oh, didn't move everything. Because I still wanted to keep my smart colors even as I'm working on the text design. Now, I may not even want the dates itself. So I just may want that formatting, like this one is going to say order of. I'm taking the same text styling that I did from the shirt, and I'll put order of. Now, I don't want to hit enter because it's going to break down to the next line. And that way it's keeping the same font and everything, so that Perpetua is the font. But I noticed that the way this is set up is all caps. So I'm going to turn it to all caps by clicking on the two tall T's. And I'm going to let this hover above so I can get a similar setup here. I'm going to make the text a little bit smaller, but you notice it's a little more spaced out. So I'm going to come over here to, I believe this is my tracking. Let me make sure that's what it's called. I thought when I hovered over it, it was going to give me the name of it. I think this is the tracking, y'all. Well, it came up for a second. Yes, that is the tracking. So here I'm going to make the tracking 55. I'm going to take it off italic and just put it on regular. Make the text a little bit smaller. And it's not the same exact text, but we're getting the gist of it now, right? All right, so this one. When I'm doing a whole bunch of text together, I really don't create the PNGs. So I'm going to pull this out of that PNG folder, get rid of that PNG folder. I'm just strictly working with text right now. And I'm just placing this about where my AI version of it is. Now the word service, I'm going to take the name Jasmine here. And this time I'm just going to grab the word Jasmine itself, duplicate that layer, put it on over to my outside program. Take the word Jasmine here and make it smaller. Double click on the T and type the word service. And this is how I make sure that my items coordinate. I'm using the same fonts, I'm using the same colors, I'm using pretty much the same exact elements. Now I'm going to go ahead and clear the layer style here because I want all of my text to be black and white and basic first, and then I'll go and apply colors and different things to it. I'll turn off my idea image just to make sure that things are kind of lining up and coming together. All right, now when I'm getting ready to type my text, Photoshop is not really a text friendly type of program when it comes to laying out things like desktop publishing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the text tool, make sure I'm on a horizontal type tool. I am going to create a box here. This is a text box. What this means is that I'm not going to be able to go outside of this text box whenever I start typing. However, I'm going to have to reduce the font size here. And it looks like this might be about a 12-point font, which 12-point font is standard for most fonts. 12-point font is the most standard readable font that you'll find in books, newspapers. If you're writing a paper for school, etc., they probably tell you to put it in 12-point font. You just have to be aware that the more you try to fit on a page, you're dealing with elderly people having to view this stuff. Just be aware that sometimes we can put a little too much. And in order to fit it, we try to reduce, or we do reduce the font size. And when you reduce the font size, you also reduce the legibility or the ability for people to read it, okay? All right, so I am going to just hit delete on all this text. And start typing the word processional. Now, let me show y'all something. Because I gotta show you that I don't just be doing this stuff willy-nilly. I'm going to take my snipping tool, hit new. Oops, hold on, I gotta get this out the way. Do new. And I'm going to snip this little section right here. Why? Because I'm not typing all this stuff out. Not when I have AI. All right, so let's come on over to my chat GPT. Start a new chat. And I'm gonna paste, because if I do Control V, then it got that screenshot on a copy. I'm gonna tell it to type this out for me. Like, why not? Y'all, this did not exist back in the day when I used to be making all these programs, y'all. Okay, and then just, make sure that you are proofreading and that sort of thing. Now, for me, I have my clients send me this information typed up. I do not play about somebody sending me handwritten stuff or things that I have to retype, because my policy is I'm the designer. If I spend time proofreading, then I become a writer. And I didn't get paid enough to write and design, okay? Now, what I will do is I do use AI to enhance. Like if they gave me an obituary and it sounds a little dull or it doesn't sound very clean, I'm gonna use AI to clean it up and say, hey, I cleaned up this obituary for you. Please proofread it for me. I just wanted to do something special for you. I will do that to enhance the quality of a product that maybe 100 people or more are gonna see at that funeral. Why? Because that product is tied to me and my quality, but am I going to sit there and type up every page of their program? Absolutely not. Will I do enhancement? Absolutely. All right, so I'm copying this text now. Going back to Photoshop here. And where I started typing processional, I'm going to turn it back on here so y'all see the word processional. Double click, paste there. And now I have everything that I copied and pasted from ChatGPT. Of course, it's pretty large here. I'm going to double click. Change the font size a little bit here. I'm going to go 11. There we go. And I'm going to have to delete some of these little dots here. Oh, the other thing is, remember my tracking is on 55, so I'm going to do Control A to select everything. Turn my tracking to 0. Normal is 0. That means there's no extra space between it and it didn't smush it in either. But even with that extra space, I still have too much space for my little dots. Now, this is one thing I do not like doing. I don't like adding these little dots. I don't like, attempting to make them even and all of those good things. Now, if you're an illustrator, there's methods to do this. And if you're in your desktop publishing softwares, there are ways to where it will perfectly give you the amount of dots so that your, and as a matter of fact, does this do this with the dynamic text now? Let me see. Nope. Although that does look kind of cool. Let's undo that. But what the dynamic text does is it changes the size of your text so that it looks like it fits in that space and gives it a little design flair. That's not what we needed to do though for this. We need everything to be the same. Let me double click on this T here. Get out of my dynamic text. And what I'm doing here is just manually deleting these little dots. Which again, if somebody had things typed out for me, then I would be doing very minimal layout, but it is still layout nonetheless, as you can see. This is why I charge for stuff like this. It is not the same as designing a t-shirt. It is not. It is formatting, it is proofreading, it's making sure that something makes visual sense. Excuse me, y'all. There we go. And then I might be sitting here adding these little extra periods in order to make sure that everything makes it to the end there, y'all. Now, here's the other thing. My paragraph, you see how my paragraph is on the center justification or center the text? It can go left justified or right justified as well. But center is what's going to get me to the edge there, no matter what text I have in the middle. And I'm just adding the little dots, adding the periods so that everything looks lined up on the edges. Not the most fun moment, but this is what you're doing when you're doing program design. Now, like I said, on the other places, all of this stuff is already designed for you. You just have to change your fonts and your font sizes. All right, so let's get rid of some of those dots for the selection, then add a couple back to get us even there. All right, now also pay attention here. If I select all, my spacing here for my line spacing, let's see. That's vertical scale. This is, I call it line spacing because that's typically what you're going to call it in your desktop publishing. But this is actually saying that this is your leading. So it's on auto right now, which is usually what it automatically goes to based on the point size of the text. So if auto is 11, or auto for 11 is like 15, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna start at 11, which is the font size. I'm gonna say, well, what happens if I put a 10 there for the spacing? You'll see that it gets very close to one another, but I wanna make sure that all of this text is going to fit on here. And now it finally fits with that spacing there. Get rid of some of these little periods here. And I highlight a bunch of periods at one time and just delete them until I get my text on one line, and then I will add some periods back, just like I'm doing right now. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, almost there. Have you all done this in Photoshop before? Like type this type of program out, these type of sections, text boxes, work even with text boxes in Photoshop before? Never? Yes. Okay, so it's mixed here. So I just want y'all to know Photoshop can do this. I know we're usually working on these, really pretty banner images for our websites and t-shirt designs and backdrops, but yes, Photoshop can actually do text-based as well. All right, but it's a little behind on the time, so we just got to work with it as we work with it, okay? But it can be done without you having to use a whole nother program. Now, this is why I was saying, if you're going to design your base for your design in Photoshop, you can bring it into Canva, and Canva does have some of these tools a little more natural as far as justifying and creating those different text boxes, but you can do the same thing in Photoshop. Anything Canva do, Photoshop can pretty much do too. Just letting y'all know. Some things are a little easier though. All right, so now I have my basic text here. I'm going to turn my idea page back on. All right, and now I can take this text box here, and I see that I do have a little more space that I can give it here. I'm not going to increase the size of the font. I'm not going to increase like the box itself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play with, what did I say this was again? The leading. And see, as I'm playing with the leading there, it's either dropping off pieces of my text and right there. So right now, 12 points is about what gets me fitted on here exactly. Take off my example text, and I'm right there. All right, and then for the reflections, so my reflections are centered. Let me show you how to left justify, even though everything else is centered. If I just select this section, go to paragraph, and go to left justify, now that particular part of my text box is left justified where everything else is centered. All right, this is desktop publishing inside of Photoshop, y'all. Let's see, with scripture reading, that was left justified. So here, I'm going to double click on my text, go to scripture reading, left justify that. And here I'm doing the text edits up here, this top bar, instead of over in my paragraph tab over here. All right. And now I'm just going to make sure that I add my little dots or my periods until all of my text is lined up. And here's a trick too. You can put a dot until it drops to the next line and then delete the last dot you made. That's how you know it's got the maximum number of dots. You drop to the next line, delete one. Drop to the next line, delete one. That way you won't ever, oh, is it not deleting? Don't show out in front of company now. There we go. You won't be guessing, hey, can I fit one more little dot there? If you can, it won't go to the next line. All right, so that looks good to me. All right, now, so is this helpful at all? Any of the stuff that I'm going over right now, is any of this stuff new to you or at least helpful in laying out programs in Photoshop? Yes? Let me know now if it's not helpful, like, child, I've been through all of this. You ain't showing me nothing. Let me know that too, because then that way I can show you something, a little next level. Okay, so now I am looking to complete the rest of the text here. So it says Jasmine Renee Carter. I'm going to take my order of, Alt, click and drag, bring that down. Jasmine, I will type this out real quick, but usually I have a document, even if it's just a Google Doc, that has all of this stuff in it, because I do not type people's names. You're gonna see right now, I might misspell Renee. And then what happens is the person that's proofing this is going to be so excited about my design skills that they're gonna forget to proofread and see that I done spelled their people's name wrong. And then the people that are going to catch it is the ones that might be a little jealous that this person got to go with the design. So they're looking for any and everything wrong up in the document. So I don't like to be in that kind of conflict. Send me everything where I can copy and paste so that my human error will not be introduced to any spelling issues. That is my ground rule. Type it up and send it to me. So then if there's a misspelling, I can show you it was in the typed document that you sent to me. And I can tell you that I proofed it to you and you didn't catch the misspelling. But also, here's something you can do inside of Photoshop. I don't know if you know this, but you can go to Edit, check spelling. Yes, there is spelling check inside of Photoshop. Did y'all know that? Did you know what spell check is out of Photoshop? If you knew that, give me a 1. If you didn't know that, give me a 2. Well, cool. All right, and obviously, it looks like it didn't find any spelling issues. Yeah, it's going through. You saw it was quickly flipping through that and it did not find any spelling issues. Well, all right. Let me spell something wrong on purpose. Let me put an extra R in clergy. Clergy. All right, and then let's go to Edit, check spelling. It caught the extra R in clergy and then it asked me to change it to clergy with only 1 R, and then I can hit ignore. Like if it's somebody's name and you just know it's gonna say it's spelled wrong, hit ignore. If you had it in more than one place, you can hit change all. So everywhere you had it misspelled, you can change it all, or you can just hit change for this one instance. I would just hit change for the one instance and see if the other applications are a true misspelling. All right, so now that's spell check inside of Photoshop, which is going to be completely helpful if you're doing programs inside of this program. All right. So now I've got my basic text there, my Jasmine Renee Carter. I will format that in just a little bit. I just want to make sure that I have placement for everything. Now the word service up here is my script text. I'm going to Alt, click and drag a copy down here. And again, I don't want to type the text. I have my dates right here from what I copied and pasted from what my client gave me. So now I'll double click on the service here, paste. And here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and paste it with the formatting of the text from before, but I wanted to have this font here. So I'm going to go to character. This is Adorn Pomander. So I'm going to go to this date here and look for Adorn. And then I'm going to choose the smooth one. I'm going to choose 0 for my tracking. Bring my size down. And I don't know if y'all know this, but you can hover over these icons here for the spacing, the tracking, the Font size. Did you know that if you hover over them, they turn into arrows, that you can pull your mouse to the left or to the right to make it bigger or smaller? To the left makes it smaller, to the right makes it larger. I learned that from one of you all when I first started teaching. I was like, Doc, did you know you could just hover over there? I said, I sure did not, because I used to go in here and I used to type in the numbers, or I would choose one of these pre-selected sizes. I did not know that you can hover over this and drag your mouse to the left and it will get smaller, drag it to the right, it gets larger. Boom. Let me know if that's new. If that's new to you, give me a 3 in the chat. If that's new to you, changing these properties here just by hovering over the icon and dragging your mouse to the left or right. Cool stuff, right? All right, then now this is where my eyeball works, right? I don't have to be like, oh, this is 13 point, this is 12 point. My eyeball tells me this needs to be about this size, okay? I trust my eyeballs. All right, let me turn off for a second so we can just see what we're working with here. And because this font is a little more decorative than my previous font, I'm going to make this a little bit larger, because script font is harder to read, and the fancier the script font, the harder it is to read. So I'm just going to make the 16 points here. Boom, there we go. All right, and I'm just seeing how things are building so far. I'm going to go ahead and take my background here. I'm going to group this and turn my opacity up for both of these. And this is just for the entire group. Turn the opacity down. And this may also tell me, and what it does tell me, is that where my text is right here, that dark spot is a little too heavy. So I'm going to move this to where, stay with me now. I'm going to make my background image a little bit larger, so I have a little bit of that lighter effect right here in the center. All right. Another thing you can do, if you want to add like a little glow to your text, you can do that as well, so that it does have a little white to it that pops off the front. If you saw how we did the outside, this image here has a glow to it, which makes it pop off of the background, even if it was dark or light. All right, so order of service. I said I'll show y'all how to design that from scratch. Now the obituary, same idea here. I'm going to go where it says order of, and Alt click, I didn't grab the right thing, order of, Alt click and drag that text. And then because this one doesn't have the design element at the top, I'm going to bring it up. And like I said, I'm not here trying to spell obituary with an extra R in it like I'd be spelling January and February and stuff. So obituary would have been spelled for me inside of the document that they gave me. So I'm not going to do any typing. I'm going to do copying and pasting to get rid of that element of human error. So obituary, I'm making the same size as order of. And I tell you what, I guarantee this thing did not duplicate. It didn't. It took my order of. Sure did. I have to alt click and drag. I have to make sure I see that double arrow, because I get ahead of myself sometimes. And it didn't do a double arrow. It actually just moved my original. So I must spell obituary again. Obituary. All right, next I'm going to create a text box here where my obituary is going to go. And this is literally like, I'm using AI. I'm using AI to design this thing, y'all. This has given me my base, but it didn't design it all the way for me. I still have to do the work. Okay, now for the text here, I'm going to start off with the little 12 point there. Make sure that my spacing is on 0. or my tracking is on 0. And then I'm going to take it off of all caps. Why? Because this is the readable text here. I want to take it off all caps. And it's just got a lorem ipsum there, which is fine for right now. But what am I going to do? Boom. Grab this little text right here. And this looks so much better than the lorem ipsum, like, because nobody really gets it when you have that in there. Okay, so I'm going to say, boom, boom. It knows what I'm having it do. Now, how many of you have thought about, like, when you have these example images, actually telling ChatGPT, like we did in our AI Create-a-thon? I told y'all I was going to show y'all some things, right? So I had AI create the obituary for us for this fictional person, Jasmine, right? But did y'all know I was going to have y'all have AI teach you how to type it out too? So you don't have to sit there and type all that stuff out. If you have never done that before, give me a 4 in the chat. Taking this AI generated content and just making it easy, okay? And I didn't even read it, but she was born in Tallahassee, Florida to loving parents. Jasmine, radiant spirit, warm smile, compassionate heart, left a lasting impression on all who knew her. I didn't have to come up with that, y'all. And I definitely didn't have to type it either. So I'll copy that. Boom, I'm a copy paste girl. All right, go to my lorem ipsum, double click on that T, do a little pasty paste. Now, when you see this little plus sign here, that means that is not all of the text. If you want all of your text to show up in this text box, because you have a specific space where you can put text, we're not going to go lower than this because we're going to keep the same format, right? What do we have to do to get the text to fit inside of this box? We have to reduce the size. I don't want you doing less than 11-point font. We'll have to reduce the spacing, so or the tracking there. So I'm going to put 0 for the tracking. And then for the leading, I'm going to reduce the leading. I have to make sure I'm double clicked on it. Oh, there we go. So 0 here, 11-point for the font. Still got that plus sign. That means I still don't have everything inside of that box. I'm going to reduce this here. See how now my plus sign went away? And when I get too big, plus sign comes back. Okay, here we go. This fits. I'm going to go for 11, see if 11 will fit. And it doesn't, so 10.5. Am I going to make it with a 10.5? Whew, 10.5, just barely made it on there. Perfect, but it's in there like swimwear. All right, so let's turn that off, make sure everything fits. Now, I'm looking at formatting here too. It looks like this formatting is justified, meaning that it's straight on the left and on the right, but it's a hanging justified, meaning that if the last line is not exactly a full line, it doesn't force it to be the width. It lets it hang, okay? These are things that you learn when you're doing desktop publishing and stuff. So what I'm gonna do for that is go over to paragraph. I'm gonna tell it that this is, you see you have your justify, last left, you have your justify, and then the last one is centered, and you have your justify, the last one is right. I'm gonna do justify where the last one is left. Boom. And don't turn on hyphenate. Hyphenate, it may make things look prettier and even, but hyphenate is just really hard to read. And if you don't have to, please don't hyphenate your stuff. All right, so I'm turning off. Ooh, looks like I'm doing some good layout now. Is any of this helpful, what I just showed you? If it's helpful, give me a 5 in the chat. Let me know, because I got to know what's helping y'all and what's putting y'all to sleep. This is helpful, these layout tips, understanding how to do desktop publishing inside of Photoshop. That's what y'all are doing when you lay out a program. That's called desktop publishing. And now this is how you lay out newspapers, magazines, programs, desktop publishing. Okay. Beautiful. I'm glad this is helpful. All right, let's bring back my little test here. Is it helpful for me to show y'all how to use AI as an idea template too? If that's helpful, let me know in the chat. Give me a 6 in the chat. If just seeing how to break down an AI design into a template, is that helpful? Because I don't think anybody has ever taught that. I was looking for some material on that and I didn't see it. So that's why I thought you all would appreciate it. Yes? Okay. Emphatically, yes. Okay. All right, so cool. Let me move on. Now that we've already done this stuff, I'm gonna move a little faster, okay? Because now I'm just trying to get it done, get her done. You hear me? Because it's about that time. I'm actually 22 minutes past class time now, but I got to show you how to do it, okay? Like I said, the advanced Photoshop classes, I'm giving y'all more in depth, but it does take a little more teaching, okay? I'm gonna take this obituary up here. Hold down Alt, make sure I have my double lines before I start moving stuff around. I'm gonna get it right about there. And then I'm gonna type the word, double click on the T, acknowledgements. Okay, all right. Hopefully I spelled that right. And if not, I got spell check. But I wouldn't even be needing my spell check for me because I will be copying and pasting for my clients. Now, if you notice the acknowledgement looks more squished in, okay? If you're gonna achieve that, you can technically hold down Shift, squish that in, okay? And then I didn't use any of my properties over here on my character side. I just squished it in because I wanted it to fit. It was a long behind word. I wanted it to fit. And guess what? That's what AI did. That's what I'm gonna do. But honestly, you'll know if you squish things in too much, it looks distorted, it looks bad. Just use your eyeball, okay? Use your design eye. All right, so we've got another section here. Now, here's what I'm gonna do for this section here. With the text box, I'm gonna duplicate this. So just duplicate that layer. Just say, okay, it is what it is, it's duplicated. Now, that's how you can duplicate stuff without doing the Alt and then dragging, or the Option and dragging if you have a Mac. All right, so the idea here though is this box is too big. I'm gonna double click on this T. Guess what? I can change the size of this box right here. Go to the top. Photoshop. Okay, you're showing out a little bit. I thought that's what you was doing. All right, and then I'm just gonna replace this text with like a couple of little letters here. Error. That's what I spelled. Now, of course, look, even though this ain't a lot of text, you think I'm gonna type this? Nursery Bobby. Let's go ahead and go to our snipping tool. Grab this right here. I'm even gonna copy and paste the word thank you, because why would I spell something if I don't have to? Snippet that. Go back to my ChatGPT. Paste. And it should know what I'm talking about by now. Like I shouldn't have to tell it each time. I'm just gonna paste the image and see if it understands. It knew it. It got the point. It even italicized this line, because this line is italicized, and it bolded my last line. It even gave me some mild formatting, y'all. Let's get with it. Let's copy that. Come over to my error. Double click on that T, paste over my error. And I do have a little plus sign here. That means everything ain't making it. I'm gonna give it a little more space here because technically my word thank you is a little bit lower. And of course, Photoshop is, I think it's Zoom, y'all. Zoom has been eating up some internet resources and doing some weird stuff lately. I love the fact that we can Zoom, but I'm just letting y'all know these internet resources are acting a donkey with this setup. All right, I'm just bringing it down a little bit here. Now, when I turn off, this text looks slightly different from the top text, so I'm going to turn off my examples here so you can see. It's just slightly different. This one is actually more squished in than this one, but if we're just going off of formatting alone and we keeping it simple because we don't want all of these fonts, y'all, you don't want to use more than 3, at the most 4 fonts when you're working on projects, because then you're going to be searching for a bunch of fonts for no reason. Most people don't really even recognize or appreciate more than 4 fonts, so don't do it to yourself. Let's see, I'm going to italicize this line. And I don't know if y'all know this, if you double click, you highlight a word. If you triple click, you highlight the whole line. Don't know if you knew that. but I've been doing that for a little while with my mouse. I just started at the end here and highlighted to get this entire line here. Italicize, usually with the font, you can go up here, and if it has an italic, you can choose it. So Perpetua does have italic. If it does not, many times you can just go to faux italic. So even if the font does not have an italic version of the font, you go to faux italic, and it will put that, that effect on it to make it look like it's italicized. If you knew that, good. If you didn't know that, put a 7 in the chat. I want to see what y'all didn't know. I want to make sure this is real helpful. If you didn't know that if your font does not come with italic, you could go down here. You didn't know? Okay. I want to make sure somebody learned something from it. Okay, cool. All right, and then for the last one, double click. Same thing with bold. If your font does not have a bold version, this one does, but I'm telling you, if it does not have a bold version, you can click on the fat T right here, and it will give you a faux bold, okay? A faux bold. All right, but we got a bold, and we want this one to be script. So I'm gonna come over here to my script text, remember what it is, which is adorn. Like I said, don't go using all them extra fonts. You don't need more than 2 script, you don't need 2 script fonts. Use the same stuff. All right, and adorn is what we're looking for, I believe. Adorn, regular smooth. And because it's so tiny, I have to pump up the size of the thank you. And I want my thank you to be centered. Boom. Even though this other stuff is left. Well, it's justified with a hanging left. Okay. Or they call it the last left. All right. Is that helpful? That formatting? Are we looking? This is almost a finished program. Are we looking like we just created a program from the scratch? And of course, I'll give you this file. I was working on the 355, y'all. I have literally been moving, and this has been the hardest move of my whole entire grown-up life. So I'm just letting y'all know that your girl is still hanging in there. I'm over here getting internet services started, fighting what did we see in the yard the other day? My nephew said he saw a cougar, what was it, Levi? What kind of animal? Was the cat? What kind of animal? A wild cat. What was it? A bobcat. Yeah, I got bobcats and all kind of stuff out here in the country town. So y'all forgive me. I'm doing a lot and dealing with a lot, but I promise I'm still here for y'all. I'm cleaning up 355 because I wanted to create the resources for you all to be a stand-up product when I do this Automizer, which is dropping on the 18th. So if you didn't pre-order the Automizer, the price of the Automizer is going up to $497 for the Memorial Automizer on the 18th. So if you haven't purchased it yet, you have the chance to purchase it for $297 instead of $497. Just letting you know, it's going to have the casket wrap and all of the beautiful things that the Automizer has. I'm also, just like I'm laying out right here, the 8.5 by 11 program. Also, I'm doing an 11 by 17 program and a trifold program that I will put into the Automizer as well, so that if you're wanting to show your funeral mock-ups, you can show it as a trifold, as an 8.5 by 11, which really requires 11 by 17 paper. And then also the 8.5 by 5.5, which is what this one is. This is a 8.5 by 11 paper folded in half. So this finished size is a 8.5 inch tall, 5.5 inch wide booklet or bifold program. All right, just letting y'all know. Okay. And I think you all mentioned a couple of things. Y'all mentioned a dog shirt. I'm going to add that one in there. And wind chime is already in there. We have so many products that really work for Memorial that's already in the Automizer. I think you all are going to have a blast with these new additions, especially with the casket wrap. Even if you don't do casket wraps, y'all, just the fact that you can design them, and you can design them fire designs in a matter of seconds, because once you design a shirt, the Automizer is already going to design the casket wrap. You could send that design flattened. Please don't be sending people your source files with your layers. Send that to the people that print and wrap the caskets. Then you just become their go-to designer. And then if you're getting so much business like that and you want to start wrapping caskets, hello, you have a resource. You know somebody who already does it. Ask them if you can apprentice, or if you can pay them to teach you how to do it. They may not like it, but somebody's going to teach you how to do it for some monies. right? Somebody out there just like me, and I don't want all the business, but I want all the people that I know to be designing at a professional level. So I'm willing to not only teach you, but also give you and sell you my files, okay? Somebody out there is like that, right? We'll teach you how to do it. All right, let me stop preaching. Let's get to getting this print ready, okay? Got a few more steps here. We do have those spacers there, and then we're going to color our text and everything. I am going to just basically, I'm just going to use my wreath left and right. Why? Because we already created these inside the 355 template, so why not? So let me bring in my left and right for my wreath. Can I use these? Yes, I can. All right, I'm going to take the right side, drag it on over to the right. Now, I will tell you this. When you're layering things, it is more helpful to have those broken down pieces. However, we're designing this quickly, y'all. The Automizer is going to design this program for you, meaning that by the time we finish what we're doing here with the 355 template, all of those elements are going to automatically propagate and make your program design. Do y'all hear me now? Do you? All right, let's take these two, and I'm going to align them across the bottom here. Let me turn off my sample here, make sure things are making sense for me. And for this one, I actually have an alignment where it's called the vertical corner. And this wreath is not exactly a vertical corner. I'm just using it for this purpose for right now. But a vertical corner is actually cleaner up this side and doesn't get into my text space too much. So I will be changing that. But for right now, I'm just showing y'all, hey, if you were to keep it simple, this is what you need. I don't have my photo. Let me go to my 355 template. Let me find my photo. And let me put that .png after that. Photo 1. Boom. And now I got a photo 1. Y'all, just letting y'all know, I love y'all so much. I'm burning up in this room right now. I realize that this room don't have no AC, and it was too late when I started teaching class. So right now, y'all are getting all my love because I have been burning up since 8 o'clock. Some things are funny. Some things are just, you got to laugh to keep from crying. All right, I'm going to put this one on top. Now, I do want some of my flowers to be in front. I do want her to be in front of flowers. So here's the thing. I could build this. I'm going to take this right one, duplicate it, link these two up so they move together. I'm going to put this one on top of my photo, that one on the bottom. Then I'm just going to grab my paintbrush, layer mask. I'm going to control click on my photo one. So this just selects the contours of my young lady, of my jasmine. I'm going to reduce the size of my brush here and make sure that my brush, I'm going to put it on full opacity here. It's a soft round brush. How do I know? Hardness is on 0, and I'm going to put the size of the brush just 600. All right, boom. Then I'm going to start brushing away, but I have to have black in the foreground because black conceals and white reveals. So I want to reveal her face right here. But this is the layer mask for the flower. So I must conceal the flower on the layer mask in order to reveal her face. You don't see that? And because I have a soft round brush, it's not going hard to the edge, but if I wanted to go hard to the edge, I just keep pushing it to the edge there. So she doesn't look like she has leaves growing out of her forehead, okay? But I might want it to be a little softer in other areas. For instance, maybe I do want to show some of the flowers coming through here. All right, so I got her primarily exposed here, but wait a minute. I don't have enough flowers. I want some of my little flowers to pop out. All right. What I can do here is now control and select the flowers here. Go to my layer mask, choose white because white is going to reveal what's on this layer. So I want to reveal some of my flowers here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to disable the layer mask just for a second so I can see where my flowers are. Let's say I want to grab this little flower here. Let's enable it. I'm going to take this, put it on top, just so I know where my flowers are. There's some tips now. This is what I do when I'm designing. Opacity, bring it down. Why? Because I just want to see where that flower is. I'm going to put it back down at the bottom. But I just want to see where it is. So now back onto this layer mask, I'm using my white to build that little flower right there back because I want it to look like it's in front of her. Gonna cover up her hair a little bit. Now this is stuff that just requires extra technique. You do not have to do all this, y'all. You most certainly do not have to do all of this. Okay, if maybe I want this little leaf right here to pop through. This flower right here is already popping out. And maybe I want this one here to kind of overlap where the end of her body is, where it fades off anyway. I might as well give that flower preference in that area. I don't want to cover her face. I might want to grab this little leaf right here. All right, and then my leaf is a little too light right there. And I can just keep going back if I want between the black and white, making my brush a little smaller here, cleaning that up now. Now, if I had my individual flowers, then of course I can put certain flowers in front of her, certain flowers behind her, but you may or may not have time to fool with it like that, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and make this leaf right here full visibility. All right, and then I'll Control D to deselect. And now I have this opportunity to build back certain parts of my image here. And guess what you could even do? Let me turn that off, turn this one back on. I'm gonna show y'all something. I don't even think I've even ever did this before. So I'm about to test something out in front of y'all. I want this whole flower right here, right? And I don't want to keep guessing. You know how I got the soft round brush and I just keep guessing where it is. Let's do this. Let's grab the, let's do the object selection tool. And I want to make sure that I'm on lasso. And we could do addition there. And I'm going to lasso right around this flower only. Oh, let me see if this works. Okay, so we selected that flower only. Boom. Going back to my little layer mask here. I'm going to make sure that white is in the background because I want it fully exposed and I hit delete. Boom, boom, boom. You see how crispy that flower came to the front now? Why? Because when I hit delete on my keyboard and I had a white in the background, it flooded and it filled in completely that marching ants area with white, which made it completely come through. Is that all right? Is it all right I showed y'all that? Was that helpful? I don't even think I've ever shown you. This is stuff that I just be doing in the background when I'm doing people's work. I don't even think about teaching this kind of stuff because it only comes up if it comes up. You know what I'm saying? So now that it's coming up and you're like, oh, I want to make it look like, I want to make it look like ChatGPT. I just don't want my person sitting in front of the flowers, which when y'all buy these templates from Canva, y'all know that person just be sitting in front of them flowers, looking stupid. They don't be interwoven in there like this image. So you go show somebody a template or something that you don't necessarily know how to recreate, you can get yourself in a little trouble. But I ain't gonna let you get in trouble because I'm gonna show you all of the workings, okay? This is how it works. All right, you cannot do this in Canva like this, all right? You can do a hack, you can do a dupe, which is where they literally copy and paste the same image on top of itself 10 times and then try to crop out certain parts of it that overlaps and it never ends up lining up and it looks crazy when you do this with a lot of different pieces. If you could do it with 2 or 3 pieces, it don't look crazy. You have more than 3 pieces that you're trying to align and overlap, it looks crazy. I'm just letting you know now. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all done made it and it looked crazy. And you was like, man, I'll just do this in Photoshop. I ain't got time. It'd be lining up all these little different pieces and they ain't even coming in the right size. And I got to manually resize and stack these images over and over again. Now, granted, one day Canva's probably going to fix that feature, but right now, It is not is not the solution. All right, so I'm gonna go back to my move tool because he keeps trying to auto select stuff. I have my fade where I need it. I have my flowers popping out where I need it. I have my leaves in the background where I need it. Okay, I'm gonna do a little glow on her. So I'm gonna go to her photo, go effects. I'm gonna do an outer glow because I want her to kind of look like she's glowing, kind of angelic there. Opacity, I'm gonna crank it all the way up for right now. Bring up that spread and let's see here. Oh, it's not on top of the text yet. Okay. And I don't want her to be on top of the text, but I want her glowing, but I want her glow to show on top of this leaf. So that means I must take my black here and take off this part here. Why isn't my leaf showing up behind there? What's going on? Oh, I don't have the eyeball on. That's one. Opacity and fill is 100%. Going with this one. Oh, did I paint on that layer? No, I did not. Layer mask, I'm black. What? Now I think Photoshop is glitching right now. I'm painting that out with black. There's no reason why this should be showing white right now. Blend mode is on normal. Oh, let me see what's going on with my glow. My glow, boom, take that second one off. This one and this one, outer glow. Oh, okay. It should be glowing just on this one, but the glow is not showing through on this part. So why is it doing this now? Let me go back. Let me change my. There we go. I'll take off this glow for right now. It's doing something weird. I got to figure out where and why it's doing the weirdness. So honestly, it looks better without the glow because I don't see that little white around it there. I'm gonna leave that alone for right now, y'all. Let me actually clear this layer style. Let me leave that part alone. What I do want to glow is my text here and anything that I want to glow on the side. So obituary, boom, acknowledgements, boom. The family and Jasmine Renee Carter in Tallahassee. I'm grouping all of that and I'm going to call this right page text. And now I'm going to put a glow on this, an outer glow. All right. I'm going to bring down the size and the spread here. Bring down the opacity a little bit. And the reason why I'm doing this is because if I'm not going to put a box here, like before when I showed you the previous design, the graduation design, I just had a rounded box there that was white that let my text pop off the page. If I'm not going to put a box there and I have these contrasting images, I have to do something to add contrast to my text. The best contrast you're ever going to get with text is black on white. Okay, black text on white background. So if you can get closer to that by adding like a little glow on the outside, it just makes it easier to read here. Let's see, do I want the spread or the size to be larger? Size larger, spread coming in. Opacity, and I'm just using my eyeball here to see, hey, can I still read the text on her hair? And if not, there's something I need to do there. Bring down the range. of the opacity. And if you notice, they'll do this sometimes in magazines there. All right, so boom, let's bring back our background now. And even if your background was dark, this would allow it to pop off a little bit too. All right, let's check out our inspiration. And I didn't think about it, but I could have turned her to the other side. That way, the dark hair would be on this side, which means I would have to redo my layer mask there. All right, so I'm gonna leave that alone. Anything else I'm missing? Order of service, and the word service is kind of at an angle there, but I'm not gonna angle that because it looks stupid when you have words that are like longer or shorter, all of a sudden the angle doesn't make sense. And I don't wanna have to re-angle this every time I do it in Automizer, so I'm just gonna leave that. And Jasmine Renee Carter, so the name here needs to be recolored, text there. Make sure my flowers are not covering up that text. And like I said, I'm gonna redo these with my verticals instead of my wreath corners. Make that a little bit larger. Get that off to the side a little bit more. What I'm doing is I'm just visually seeing how much contrast I'm getting out of this text naturally before I start moving things around. And again, I have the order of, the service, the processional text, Jasmine Renee Carter in the July 12th. I'm going to group all of those. I'll call that the left, or how about this, text, left page, or text page, oh yeah, text left. And then this will be text right. Let's keep that simple. Then I can copy the layer style from here, paste the layer style here. Believe that's all I need there. Then I can bring in those elements. I'm gonna take that little accent divider, just drag and drop it in there. Put it on top of my text here. Actually, I'm gonna drop it inside of my right text folder because I want it to have that little glow to it. It's auto select on. Let's grab my little heart. A little bit smaller there. And of course, when we did this in our AI Create-a-thon, you may have created some different dividers. So feel free to use some different ones. See how this one's different from this one? And let's see, do we have a divider on the left side? Yes. I'll click and drag it over there to the left. I'll click and drag makes a copy, y'all. And then I'll take this one, bring it over yonder. Now, if you want to make sure certain things are lined up, for my text on the left, I want to make sure order of, service, the processional, the little heart accent, the July date, and Jasmine Renee Carter is all centered. Once I have held down Control and selected each of these layers, I'm going to skewer it down the middle here, which is just an alignment tool. And now all of my text is perfectly aligned there. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop here because we are almost an hour over time for class tonight. Y'all, I don't even have to ask y'all to give me grace because you've been giving me that. I want to, because this is what one of the products I'm going to put inside of the Automizer so that it does the design for you, whether you're doing an 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17, or a trifold. I'm going to create some more elements from the 355 so that we get this vertical here and not this wreath. The wreath is not doing it for me. Why? I'm going to show you why. You see how I get this little L shape here? This is what I was saying with my vertical corner piece. I need a vertical corner piece and not the wreath. So what I have here now, or I guess what it's showing you here, I have the wreath pieces and I have the cluster pieces, but I need a vertical corner and I need a horizontal corner. So I'm going to make that off of the 355 template. So it will automatically make you a vertical corner and a horizontal corner. And then that way you'll have those that will automatically generate from the template. Christy, you want to use this as is? I tell you what, I'll give it to you as is tonight. For me, I feel like I still need to clean it up a little bit. You want this tonight as a reference? Okay, you got it. I'll even give y'all the 355 as it is. You know, it needs a little tweaking, y'all. I like for my layers to be layered right. I like for it to create all of the different, you know, magic PNGs for y'all. But if it means, Christy, that you can use this tonight to get your project done, let's do this week. You got it. As soon as I get off of this live, I'll go ahead and upload it, okay? As is. Okay? As is now. All right. And I'll go ahead and upload the fonts and everything in that folder too, okay? All right. So let me ask you this, Christy. You said you want this as a reference. You're doing an 8.5 by 11, right? I feel like y'all know I'm like a stickler. Yeah, I'm gonna give you this as is, but I feel like I should have my verticals in here and my horizontals in here, depending on what y'all are gonna be laying out on these pages. Okay. And like I said, it already has, so you got your text left, text right that we just created tonight. You have your outside pieces in there. Let me bring outside to the top here. Okay, let me just at least format this a little bit. It ain't done like I like it, but I'm gonna get you there. All right, let me turn off the text left and right so you see the outside. Then this will be inside. Images. Turn those off. And then all of this will be inside versus outside. This is how I be doing, this is how I make my templates, y'all. I don't even feel right handing it over to you if I don't label everything, group things, make things automatically change. It just don't feel right to me, y'all. But I'm gonna give it to you so you have it. Now, if you choose to do any of these pieces, you just go to where that rectangle is, there's text on top. You double click on that, it's a smart object. And then that text is editable inside of there. Okay, so if you want to change the color of the text, which we didn't even do that, let me show you how to change the color of text. And then this is not just the text. I'm going to put this as the back text. So whenever you're designing, of course, this is your front on the right side. This is your back on the left side because it's the outside of the program. You can literally right click and just quick export as PNG outside. Okay. Then you can also do the same thing for the inside. And then for the inside, I need to turn on your inside stuff. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so basically that works, but also your background needs to be separately with your inside and outside so that when it exports the PNG, it exports it with the background included. So I just want y'all to know that it's not going to happen unless this background here This background would have to be both in the outside and in the inside. So I'm gonna keep those on there as reference. And tell that turn off for printing. Because those are your references. You can keep them on and just make them transparent. And then put the blend mode on something like multiply. And I can keep the transparency up. That way you just have some guidelines on there. So make sure you turn them off when you create your printable file. All right, I'm gonna let this go as is, just so that you have this reference tonight, Christy. But like you said, it's just for a reference. And then I'm gonna take my inside pieces here, duplicate that group, put that onto my outside. Boom, boom. So you have those editable. Oh, you know what? Image size. I must make this 300 pixels per inch so that when it pops over there as a duplicate, it comes in the appropriate size and placement. So let me get rid of that one. And then I can duplicate this one onto my outside. So you will have an alternate. I'm going to call this one inside alternate, where this is basically already a smart object with text already there. But this is not what we typed tonight, is different from what's here. Okay, just giving you both of those options, and they're all inside of the printable area here, so that works. All right, I'm gonna get this saved, uploaded for you all for tonight so that you have something to work with. Well, here, let me show you this. You can change, I don't know if you all know this, but you can change the color of text just by double clicking on the text, going to the color, and let's say if I wanted this purple or this gold, you can change the text like that. I like to use the smart colors. Why? Because when I'm making my Automizer, my whole goal is like, hey, how do I not go into a product and have to change all the colors and have to change all the fonts and all of that? So the way that I do that is with my smart features. So I can take color 1, color 2. I'm going to duplicate those, put it onto my outside program there. And then anywhere where I want that color, let me go ahead and close out of this inside the program. I no longer need it. Okay. I'm going to make sure that the blend modes are on normal. All right. And let's say, for instance, I want to recolor a very specific piece of text. I'm just going to make this smaller here because it's large for no reason. All right, and let's say I just want to cover the word service. I'm gonna shift and make that cover that word service. So wherever I see service, boom, I put my colors over it, create a clipping mask. And do you see the word service is now purple, or it's the peach color there, or I can even put a solid color here. And let's say I want it to be that green color, even though green isn't really one of my colors I'm using. Now, what happens when I'm using the Automizer, though, this is why when I'm using the Automizer, I'm very specific about the pieces that I use, because I use color 1, color 2 for everything, because I know it's going to automatically design things. But if you want to get special with it and you want to add an additional color, you can do that, but just understand that when you automate this process in the future, it's not going to automatically update those things. It's going to require you to manually change those colors every time, which is why I say keep it simple, sublimators, and just use your color 1 or your color 2. Okay, that's how I design. I design smart and not hard anymore. I used to design real hard, y'all, but now I don't do that no more. Okay. Let's go ahead and change Jasmine Renee Carter. I'm going to take these same pieces here, alt click and drag them above her name. But you'll notice that when I create a clipping mask, it's way up there. So I'm going to have to bring it down to her name. And now it appears in the space where her name is. Also, because I'm recoloring that a light color, I need to put something behind it, possibly a stroke or a drop shadow that makes it pop. So the stroke should be on the outside, not the inside. And I'm just going to do a black stroke there. Bring down the size. I can bring down the opacity to make it pop. And here, I think I'm going to do a drop shadow. Opacity, distance, bring it in. Size, bring it in. Just to make that light color pop off just a little bit here. And this is the type of stuff that I say I usually spend a little bit more time making sure that's correct. Now, granted, I don't have to do any of that if none of my flowers are touching here, which is why I'm saying I would do a vertical flower here that would not interfere with this text. I can bring the opacity down a little bit so it's not so strong. But boom, just the word Jasmine now has that kind of drop shadow onto it. Okay, all right, I'm saving what I have right now because I wanted to show you all how to change basically like a smart object, change like the Automizer would, the color of text, but you can always, you do not need to have a smart color on there. Let me show you with a different piece of text. So we can take the word service there. And we can turn off anything that's clipping to it. We can double click on the T and I could choose a color right from here. And you can choose a color that you already have in your swatches, or I can just choose a color right here from my artwork. Whatever floats your boat will find your lost remote. Okay, that is not a color overlay that is clipped down to the text. That is changing the color of the actual text. So that's another way you can change colors, is what I'm saying. You don't always have to use my method of clipping a color down to text. All right, y'all. I think this is good for tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and post this up right now because I promised Chrissy I would, so y'all will have this right now. Just give me about 10 minutes to upload this on the back end, okay? And if you don't have the link, if you all purchase, yes, thank you for the reminder, Hannah. If you purchased the $355 Memorial and you prepaid for it, some of you got it for $197. Now it is $297. It will be $497 once I release it on Saturday. It will be worth every penny of that because it does automatically design almost every product you're going to want to offer for Memorial, or any project for that matter, because it has the backdrops, banners, event stuff, clothing, treats, pretty much anything that you would want to create. I think you all are running out of things to tell me to add to the Automizer. That's how good we're coming to wrapping this Automizer up and having a full suite. If you want to be able to purchase it, Customer Happiness, do you have the link? I may have it. Let me see. For the Automizer, where it's $297, and you can do payment options on it if you need to at this moment. Let me see if I can find the link. And then that one, we'll see if I can find y'all the shop, because the Shopify link does have it to where you all can, here, let me find it real quick. That's the one you can do the split pay, because you all asked me for that option and I wanted to be able to give you that. Here, I'll find it real quick if you need to do the split pay option. Otherwise, I would prefer that you do it on the main link, because the split pay option does eat up some of my profits, okay? However, if it helps you, then I have made that available. If you need to do split pay options, this is what it looks like on this main page here. You go to that. Say 355. See if I can just find you the direct link here. Here it goes. This is if you need to do the split pay option. Boom. And customer happiness, you might want to put that in your, I know you have some links in the cheat sheet and stuff, or for your spills. You may want to put that one in there. So right now, like I said, it's $297. It's gonna go up to $497. And then once everybody's popping off with the Automizer doing their thing, it'll go up even more than that. Okay. I've had people pay $1,200 for the Automizer. I've had people pay $900 for the Automizer. Some of you got it at the I had a 4-hour sale for $147. And some of you hopped on that. Those are my true believers, my early adopters that you just know something gonna be popping with it. So you don't even care. $147 was nothing compared to what you know you was gonna get. Yes, and it is the full Automizer. It's the full one, and it's going to have additional products from the last Automizer because it will have the casket wrap and trifold, 11 by 17 bifold, a dog shirt, and I think one more. The last one I did, I added 30-something products. I think it was almost 40 products. And it took me so long to release that Automizer, I'm not going to do that to y'all again. So if I do another release, usually the most I add is about 5 products. But it will be the newest and the fullest Automizer because it will have whatever new products I develop for it. So yes, it will be the full one. All right, y'all, let me get off this live so I can go ahead and get out of this heat. I'm hot, y'all. I feel like I'm sitting inside of somebody's mouth right now and they just breathing hot, humid air on me. So just let y'all know, I love y'all that much to sit through this, but I am about to tap out. I'm going to upload these files in the next 10 minutes, and your girl is going to take a shower and get in the air conditioning, okay? Next time, I'll know what a heat is, and I'll know to stay away. All right, so I appreciate you all. I love you dearly. I truly do. And until next time, bye. Good night, y'all.